is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing? I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents 2 be determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers Securities Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There's only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get a rest!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was. You're a never was. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Tyler Mothball Harrison, and Mr. Goddamn Speedy Damn Petey. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Wednesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. You can call us. What is the number, Speedy?
631-672-3108.
Ooh, how wonderful. And I'm going to tell you, I have the music in the back. I just added right there. And remember, guys, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com.
I'm going to call you that.
And after that, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to our app by going to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, it is the first game of the football season. Yes, sirree, and I am in my boxer shorts enjoying it. Yes, I am in my boxer shorts because my leg is blown up like a big watermelon because of my surgery. So I am not doing so well, but I'm here to entertain you guys for the next 3 hours. So we have a great show lined up for you. We'll talk a lot about 3 hours. You know what time this show ends. For the first hour.
Never when it's supposed to end.
For the first, well, that wasn't my fault what you guys did yesterday. I don't know where you guys were going with that. You guys didn't finish the show until 12:45. I mean, serious, you guys were all over the place.
To be fair, that was because you called in on some.
It wasn't just him. It wasn't
so
just
you're
him.
going to blame me for that.
It was not just him.
So it's all my fault.
Yeah.
Blame it on Errol. It's always Errol's
you and the
fault.
fact we had a stuttering fool. Other than that,
A stuttering fool? Who's the stuttering fool?
Speedy.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, we have the football game going on right now, 7-7, Dallas and Tampa. Told you guys, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to keep talking and preaching it for the rest of the show. I will put money on it that the Cowboys will have a chance to win this game one way or another.
What's a chance?
By like 3 to 7 points.
That's a corny that's a corny bet.
Of
course they have a chance. They're all playing the game.
You said they were going to beat them 50. You said they were going to beat them 52-7.
51-7.
I'm sorry.
Let's see, 44 unanswered points. You still got faith?
It's not going to
happen.
happen.
So 51-7 is not going to happen. But Tampa Bay is going to still blow them out.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout at all. I think this is going to be a very, very close game. And I think with Dak Prescott behind the line of scrimmage and throwing the ball.
I hope he's behind the line of scrimmage when he throws the ball.
I'm trying to be a little smart here, Mr. Tyler Harrison. Why aren't you wearing a hat today?
I never wear a hat.
I know. That's why I think you should. I think it would fit your, your color of your face. I think it would.
What colored hat?
I have no idea. You have to tell me that. I don't know. How about you wear my red hat? If I give you my red hat right now, what do you think you look? Do you think you look good with the red hat on? I think you would. I think you would.
I definitely would look better with a hat.
Well, right now you look like Sloth. Okay. I don't.
I don't know why you're name calling guy. All I did was say that you said something stupid. That's all I said.
What did I say? Stupid.
That they have a chance to win the game.
They do have a
chance to win the game.
They do have a chance to win the game.
Yes, it's the first half.
Well, obviously, you're the one who said they were going to beat them 51-7.
I stand by that.
And I stand by you're an idiot, okay? From the idiotic things that you said. But we have a great show lined up for you guys today. I do want to get into this whole NFL and professional sports with this vaccination situation, which is really bothering me. There's certain players that it's going to affect going into the season. There are players that are probably going to be fined and suspended in the NFL. The NHL is coming out. Gary Bettman is coming out with something in the next couple of days before the season starts, because the season's right around the corner. Preseason starts, I think, next week for the NHL.
About the Garden?
Yes, I heard about the Garden, and we'll get into that as well. We're also going to talk about. You mentioned something about Michael Jordan to Tom Brady. I thought you were out of your mind yesterday, but there is a player that was just inducted into the Hall of Fame who we can compare Tom Brady to, and that's Derek Jeter. And I'm going to get into my reasons why you can compare Tom Brady to Derek Jeter. It makes a lot of sense when you go through statistics and understanding of both players and what they do and what they stand for. So we will get into that a little bit later. We will also get into the NBA as Ben Simmons is finally looks like is going to be traded. Stories coming out that it could be the Toronto Raptors as good as Friday making the trade to land Ben Simmons, which when you think about Toronto losing the players that they've lost in the last couple of years, Kyle Lowry going to the Miami Heat, Kawhi Leonard going to the Clippers, why not take a chance with a young player like Ben Simmons? Maybe you can, find a genie in a bottle and maybe the guy becomes a shooter. Right. No, they better rub him the right way, because obviously Kendall Jenner didn't rub him the right way. Oh, God. She's doing it with Booker now.
She's rubbing him better, apparently.
Well, obviously. Maybe you should help her out. Booker would like that.
What?
You are.
I'm helping out her, or I'm helping him out?
No, you're helping her out for him.
Wait, so I'm rubbing her out?
No, you're rubbing him out.
Oh, no.
You're going to be giving him your genie in the bottle. What do you think?
Do I get paid?
What is up with you and Speedy getting paid? You want the 6-figure? What is it? What do you say, Speedy, all the time?
Yep. If it's any celebrities, I want a 6-figure money amount from them to do something weird.
Well, I think it would be free for you because you're not really worth much of anything. So
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Why'd you don't take that from him.
He knows I'm kidding around. Anyways, let's get into, and we will get into this football game because right
14-7.
now it's 14-7. And is it 14-7 right now?
No, I thought that Brady was about to touch.
I was about to say, because I can't see it. There's a camera on the thing. But
Ben says in the comments, I hope the Cowgirls and Cry Brady's tie.
Anyways, I want to get into this vaccination thing.
Why Cry Brady?
With the NFL and professional sports. And I look at, Roger Goodell trying to change the wheel. We've seen, obviously, Mr. Manford try to change the wheel this year with the MLB, with the double headers, making it the second game a 7-inning game, which I think is absolutely horrific and horrible. They're talking about bringing in electronical umpires behind the plate, which I think is going to affect the game. You look at the game, look at the NFL now. with the vaccination thing and now all the professional sports. You heard, obviously, the political situation with Biden speaking out with the federal jobs. I don't want to get into politics, but I'm mentioning that now we've become, we're a democracy of a country, and we believe in democracy. Now, all of a sudden, we become a dictating country where professional sports are now following and obeying by these crazy rules, these multi-millionaire players. Now, a lot of people are going to say, like Jeff, and I'll be very surprised. I would be very surprised that Jeff doesn't call up on this whole topic, that he believes that all NFL players should be taking the vaccine because it's for the better. Now, I will say this. My girlfriend, she goes to school at Stony Brook University, and every single one of the kids, or every single one in her class, 80 kids, 50 kids, have to take the vaccine to get into the school. Okay? Now, she tells me today that the same people that they tell you to get vaccinated are coming down with COVID. Now, if I was an NFL player and I am contracted under the team's contracts, now we see a lot of these healthcare people, they're losing their jobs. And to me, it's absolutely horrendous where they're forced to take the vaccine when they don't believe in it. They don't want to take it. And after them being the frontline people that were in and out of the hospital, saving these people's lives, now putting themselves in risk where they don't believe in this, that could kill them. We're seeing people that are, the shots are not working well in their bodies. I mean, just think about it. Now you go to the NFL, you have guys like Cole Beasley, or certain players,
Cousins,
Cam Newton, Kirk Cousins, that don't believe in taking this vaccine. And the league is now telling them if they don't take the vaccine, they're going to be fined and suspended for 4 games. And that if they do come back after the suspension and they do get COVID and they give it to any of the players on the team, that that team would forfeit their game for the week and they would automatically lose. Now, over the years, we all know about vaccinations. We all know about the mumps and measles and all the different vaccinations that you have to take as a kid. And you're not forced, but they tell you that you're not going to be able to go to school if you don't have all these vaccinations. Now, all of a sudden, and you're not forced to do it. They never force people from other countries like Mexico or Korea coming over to our country,
Syria, Japan, China,
forcing them to get those vaccinations to go to school. Now, all of a sudden, because of the whole COVID-19, which, by the way, there's a new virus coming out. It's called Kala or something like that over there in Asia, which has killed over 125 people already. Just imagine how long it's going to take that to hit the United States. I was reading something about it today. Now the leagues and professional sports and college sports are forcing these players to be vaccinated or they cannot play. Now, guys, you sit here right now today and you look at the game and really the change of these rules. And by the way, TJ Watt got a huge contract today. We'll get into that a little bit later today. He is the highest paid defensive player now in NFL history. You talk about he didn't get the money that obviously Aaron Donald got, the 180 million, whatever. 100.
You know the story behind that?
He got more guarantee money. What's the story behind it?
He actually his agent wasn't going to take the deal. Mm-hmm. He wanted Watt to go to free agency. Watt overruled him and walked into what is it, the Rooney's?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Walked into Rooney's office and said, "I'll take it. I'm going to take this."
Which he loves to be. He loves the Pittsburgh
Good
Steelers.
for him.
But listen, he's still getting a lot of money, and he's the highest paid linebacker in the NFL, and he's the highest paid guaranteed money in the NFL history. So TJ Watt's not doing so bad, and his brother's probably licking his lips because he went to the Cardinals and he's making pennies to a dollar. But he made his money already. And he was probably going to go to the Hall of Fame, which I don't believe he's a Hall of Famer, by the way. But Ben says TJ got paid. He did. But getting back into this vaccination thing, I want to know you guys' opinion. If you were an owner of a team, if you were a player playing in the NFL or playing in professional sports, do you believe these professional sports should force you to take these vaccinations to make millions and millions of dollars?
I'm somewhere in between. I would prefer if they did because it's a larger group. Forcing and maybe forfeiting maybe seems a little bit extreme. I understand it's a larger group. You have NFL's a 56-man roster. College sports are obviously a lot larger, so it's a little tougher for them to do it. So I can understand why they could force it to an extent, but I think forcing a little too much maybe as a forfeit could be a lot of problematic. The SEC has already come out and said any unvaccinated games will be a forfeit as well, which is even worse in college football because those games mean a lot more with only 4 teams making the playoffs. And if you're the SEC, you don't want to have a team like a Georgia or an Auburn that could be on the brink of a playoff berth have a forfeited game. So it's kind of an extreme scenario. I think the player should be attacked more than the team, I think, in that case, because it's not really fair to suspend or to penalize 50 other members of the team just because 3 people are rebelling against the vaccine. I think they could suspend if they want to suspend the player because they made it contagious. Okay. But that's more so the circumstance thing. So I think it's more individualistic than it should be team-based more than anything else. But I would prefer if they did, but I'm not so extreme to say, all right, you should forfeit a game.
How about you, Tyler?
There's no way in hell any leagues pay me any amount of money to get this vaccine.
That's it?
There's no amount of money on the planet you can pay me right now to go get this vaccine.
Now you had Biden come out today and say that now all federal jobs and company union jobs are going to be forced that you have to.
Right.
So
he's not, but it's not him. He's not
a puppet. He's a puppet. We all know that.
He's a babbling.
Goodell's a puppet too.
Right.
He's being run by the owners of the league. The owners are paying him to do a job, but he's the bad guy. And Goodell is going to be looked at as a bad guy with this whole situation because Cole Beasley has already come out and said that he is not taking that vaccine no matter what. Right. So we're hearing stories that he might not even play this season. There's a good chance that he might not play this season for the Buffalo Bills. So if you drafted him in your fantasy league, good luck on that. He's never going to play. And
I don't know why you would take Cole Beasley in a draft.
Why not?
That's why I grabbed Gabriel Davis for the last pick in one of my leagues.
Cole Beasley sees the ball at least 7-8 times a game. But PPR leagues, that's good.
I get it, but Emmanuel Sanders is going to get a lot more looks
if he's healthy. The problem is he's
not
always
healthy.
Healthy.
Cut by the Saints because he isn't healthy. It's because
it's not just the Saints. He's been up and down with injuries ever since he left the Broncos. All the different teams he's bumped around, he's been hurt too. I think Gabriel Davis too. The second half of the season he had last year, he might be the number 2 receiver that emerges as a result.
I believe that they have another young kid over. Regardless of where he falls on this, he would be the slot guy. You cannot mandate anyone to do anything.
Actually, you can.
You can't. It's actually in the Constitution that they can't tell you to harm your body at all.
The Constitution means absolutely nothing now.
Well, that's a problem.
It doesn't mean anything
That's
anymore.
A problem.
Well, the government, and like I said, I don't want to get into the politic end of this.
That's why I'm kind of confused, because the sport aspect of this is really it's
minimizing,
shallow,
but it still hurts the game. If you're looking at the game, if you're looking at the game, and it's like Cam Newton, a lot of people are saying Cam Newton didn't get thrown, he didn't get fired and dropped by the Patriots because he wouldn't take the shot. That's what Bill Belichick says. But I disagree. I think there's a major reason why. Because why not keep Cam Newton as the backup player of Mac Jones? Even if Mac Jones plays all season long, what happens if Mac Jones gets hurt? Who are you going to put in? Hoyer? I'd rather Cam Newton than Hoyer.
I agree with you.
So why would you drop Cam Newton? Obviously, and he still hasn't signed with anybody. Nobody signed him. Is that a coincidence? I don't think it's a coincidence.
No,
I think
they're about to Kaepernick him.
What they're doing to him is he's not taking the vaccine. So you know what? You're never playing NFL football again. And because he's an older player, he's an injured player. Now, if he was
not old.
With his arm, he's old. He's not the same.
He lost a lot of arm strength.
He's not the same quarterback he was as an MVP 4 or 5 years ago.
I get it. He's still young though.
But for what he did to his arm, he's not. He's aged. He's aged because of his arm.
The shoulder injury he suffered in 2018, he has not been the same since that. He was having a great season that 2018 season, and he was having pace similar to his MVP season. The Panthers were 6-2, and once he got hurt, that shoulder, he has not been the same since.
His career's over. It's absolutely over. And with this vaccination thing, and anybody can say what you watch, Cam Newton will not be signed with anybody unless somebody gets completely hurt and they need a quarterback to step in. And usually they have their backup quarterback that they're going to try to bring in before they would even look elsewhere. So Cam Newton going to another team this year is probably not going to happen. So you look at the big picture, even though Bill Belichick has come out and said he did not drop Cam Newton because he wouldn't take the vaccination, which I think is a crock of you-know-what, because every single player on the Patriots took the vaccine except him. So what does that tell you? It tells you that he is causing problems in the locker room, that every single other player... What?
That's a load of crap, too.
Load of crap or what?
He's loved by all of his teammates.
Obviously...
But I get why Belichick... I get it. You can't have your starting quarterback every week be at a risk for not playing.
You don't want to put your team at risk because if he doesn't take the vaccination, he comes down with COVID. Guess what? Your team forfeits that game because he wouldn't take the vaccination. Even though the vaccinated players, they can still come out with COVID, they will not forfeit that game. So
Which is mind-blowing to me.
So what they're doing, what the NFL is making and forcing you to do is take the vaccination. If you don't take the vaccination, it puts your team in jeopardy of forfeiting the game. But if you do take the vaccination and
the referees are giving this game to the Cowboys. They've called
why? It's 14-7.
They've called 3 penalties on this drive and they're bogus already.
So what does it matter? The game's not over. It's the second quarter.
I said they're trying everything to keep this game close.
What I'm trying to say, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It bothers me with professional sports and how professional sports is becoming a dictating game. You talk about basketball. Look at LeBron James. LeBron James really created the stir of the 3 superstar team. Now, we all know that over the years, the Lakers with Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, and then another player, they had a Karl Malone, they had a Gary Payton. We've seen it, a bunch of times with the Celtics, with obviously Mikhail, Bird, and what's his name?
Robert Parrish.
Robert Parrish. Yeah. So they weren't traded. They weren't players. They were drafted, and they made an ultimate team. Even Golden State. Everybody keeps saying that the Golden State Warriors, they pretty much built their team by buying players. They bought their own players. They drafted Draymond Green. They drafted Steph Curry. They drafted Klay Thompson. They hit right in their drafts. Now, when they added Kevin Durant, they were buying their championships. But you see how the leagues are changing. You see how the ownerships and obviously the players are changing the game. Now, the NFL has become a dictating game where you have the owners running the sport and telling their players that if they don't do anything, you're not getting paid, we're fining you, or you're never going to play football again.
The other problem with that kind of thinking is you're going to have a lot more players that you're going to have them expose it potentially to hurt their free agency causes. Cam Newton, like you mentioned, may never even play again.
He's never going to play again.
He'll
never play again.
Because of this, obviously the downgrade in his game has to hurt it too. But
absolutely.
Again, if you're gonna be somebody rebellious like this too and take a stand, yeah, that's your role. If you want to take the stand against the vaccine, that's your right. But again, Colin Kaepernick started it with the anthem protests, and he didn't play again. And again, this is not to get.
By the way, he's coming out with a Netflix documentary, which I'm very intrigued to see.
And again, not to get too political, but again, this is another one of those dividing issues where if you want to take a stand, that's your own risk. So,
because what the NFL did to Kaepernick is absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous what they did to him.
Right. But again, if you're a player like a Cole Beasley who's going to take,
because there were players doing, you're shaking your head. There were tons of players doing it in the NFL, and they never kicked them out of the league.
Didn't say a word.
What do you mean didn't say a word?
I didn't say anything. I was shaking my head because I was coughing.
Yeah.
Well.
So Beasley, again, that's the risk you run. If you want to take that stand, I mean, you're a third receiver on a loaded Bills team. I mean, if you get cut because of that, that's on you. That's not on anybody else more than anything else. Again, the risk is the same. Like you mentioned, you could still get the vaccine, or you could still get the virus, even if you get vaccinated, and you could give it to somebody else. But again, I would still have preferred if they take it, but the forfeiting rules thing, I think, is the biggest thing that's so stupid, especially in college football as well. Like I said, at the SEC, I think the Pac-12 has already implemented it in a couple other conferences too. It's just
I just think, and with the Colin Kaepernick thing, what really bothers me about that story, which I can't wait until the documentary, because I I don't know the entailed
can't
story
believe that's
behind it. But what do you mean you can't believe it's happening? Of course they're going to
call. I think every time you say Kaepernick, I end up
whatever, man. I'm trying to.
I'm serious.
That's fine. I don't really care. What I'm trying to say is that what really disturbs me about Kaepernick is the NFL has done him wrong, and what they did was they paid him to go away. They paid him to go away. Other players did the same thing he did, and they still have a job. Colin Kaepernick, they just paid him to run away.
That's not true.
It absolutely is true.
So they didn't hold a private workout for him?
They proved
that his team at the last minute decided to move.
Let me ask you a question. You were at the top. You were at the top of your game, okay? And then you were suspended for almost 3 years. 3 years of playing football. He was suspended. He would. What do you call it then?
I mean,
what do you call it? He was suspended. Yeah, he was suspended.
Any team, you know why Colin Kaepernick didn't play in the
suspended,
NFL?
Tyler.
He wasn't that good.
No, wasn't that good? He was one play away from winning a Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
That game was a blowout.
He was really
that Raven team dominated that whole
it was a
3.5 quarters.
That was a blowout.
They came close to the end of the game.
What was the score of the game?
What was it? 34-28,
29.
Okay, and they had the ball on the 7 or 8 yard line, and Colin Kaepernick overthrew a ball. Okay,
right.
Yeah, right.
I get it.
Right.
But the game was
he
like
was one play away
34-7 at halftime.
And they were talking about him and Russell Wilson being the next big quarterback. Remember that, Speedy?
Yep.
They had the commercials with him and playing for
Yeah.
the Madden games.
Yes.
Marketable.
Loser shaves the eyebrow. Yeah.
Yes.
He's marketable.
Yeah, yeah.
Marketable.
I'm not denying
what?
that.
What are you talking about?
He's
he was one
marketable.
of the best quarterbacks in the league at one point. He was.
Not in my eyes.
Maybe your eyes, but in the NFL fan, Colin Kaepernick at one point was at the top of his game. And what the NFL did to him was despicable.
But what did they do to him?
They suspended him. They exiled him. And then they finally were proved to be wrong. They paid him to go away. Nobody knows how much they paid him because he can't announce or say anything on what they paid him. Even on this documentary, he is not permitted to tell anybody what the NFL paid him to go away.
So the Ravens, when they were going to bring the guy in to be a backup or start, depending on who you want to believe, and his girlfriend tweeted what she tweeted, basically saying that the Raven, whatever about the Raven organization, and then that thing blew up. That's the NFL's fault.
So you're going to sit here.
The private workout they held, he screwed up. He screwed up.
Tyler, I'm gonna explain something to you. Even if he threw well at those private workouts, he
showed up out of shape.
He wasn't going to get. He knew he wasn't getting a job.
That's bullshit.
It was a game. The NFL purposely did that.
Jay-Z purposely did that?
Absolutely.
So the NFL brought in Jay-Z to show that there's not a racial problem. We care about racial divide.
Absolutely.
We care about all that, right?
Absolutely.
And Jay-Z took that job, and Jay-Z said, just give him a bogus workout.
What did they give Jay-Z? $20 million?
Who knows?
To pick the singers, the artist that is going to play at the Super Bowl. That's what they did.
But
that's what he's doing.
Jay-Z and even Stephen A. Smith came out first.
Like he needs $20 million, a multi-billionaire.
I understand. But what even Stephen A. said, he knew about the workout. He helped orchestrate the workout. So it had nothing to do with...
He didn't play for 3 years, Tyler. Playing at a collegiate sport is completely different than playing a professional sport with the best players in the world. He is not going to...
If you wanted to be an NFL quarterback, if you wanted to be an NFL quarterback that bad for 3 years, you would have at least came in shape.
No, you wouldn't. Not when the NFL was doing the things that they were, and they weren't letting you go to any of the NFL. He couldn't go to the Super Bowl to talk to the press. He couldn't talk to anybody.
Why would I want you at the Super Bowl? You're unemployed.
Unemployed. Because they put him in that situation. And then when they put him in that situation and they finally proved that he proved it to them that they were wrong, they paid him and then they gave him these private workouts. He knew he wasn't going to make a team. He knew no NFL team. Even if he threw the ball well, he wasn't going to make those teams. There was no way in hell he was making any NFL team. The fact is the NFL was trying to sell that to make it seem like they weren't bad guys. And they were. It was wrong for what the NFL did. And you sitting here and thinking that Goodell was being nice.
No, I don't think the NFL is innocent by any means. But to say that Colin Kaepernick did not have a shot at getting a job is ridiculous.
Read what everybody's saying, Speedy.
Carl says, Zerline missed that because I have him as one of my kickers. Look at the game before the lights went out, Tyler. That was over 3 years later with Kaepernick. Ben says NFL set up Kaepernick.
After the lights came back on is when the Ravens sucked.
Just let him finish, and then you can talk.
Carl says you can't say he was blackballed, Tyler. There were so many teams that could have gone with him as an improvement, and they didn't. And Ben says Errol #nailed it. And Carl says he didn't have a shot, Tyler.
There you go. Speak up. You're going to sit there quietly.
No, you told me to shut up and let him speak,
All right,
so I let him speak.
You wait like 5 seconds to speak.
Because I thought you had something to say.
No,
you always got something to say.
No, I'm letting you speak.
So here we go. If you're blackballed, the NFL would have never caved at all. They would have said, "Oh that's not an issue." Everyone's got their head so far up their own tuckuses about this. I'm taking your word. It's not even funny. Kaepernick got benched. Okay. Got benched. The Niners did not come out and cut him. They benched him because he wasn't playing well. Stop giving me he's a Super Bowl quarterback. He went to 1 Super Bowl. How many quarterbacks can we name right now that have been to 1 Super Bowl and that was it?
He was 1 play away from winning a Super Bowl.
That's fantastic.
And he was 1 play away from being the MVP of that Super Bowl. Go look at his numbers. Go look at his numbers.
I'd have to remember the game. I can't say that.
Speedy, go pick up his numbers. Go find the numbers of Colin Kaepernick.
I really don't care what the numbers are.
But
so anyway,
they give it to the quarterback no matter what. Tom Brady got the MVP when
Julian Edelman won it 2 years ago.
That's great. That's great.
What do you mean?
Tom Brady has won it when he's thrown 200 yards. 200 yards. Go ahead.
All of his MVPs were deserved. So anyway.
Yeah, okay. You're on drugs.
All of his Super Bowl MVPs
no, they
were
weren't.
deserved.
No, they
absolutely.
Weren't. No, they weren't. Seattle, you think you should have won the Super Bowl MVP? Well, no.
That's not Brady.
Brady won the Super Bowl MVP?
Yes, absolutely. They don't win that game without Brady.
Oh, God.
They don't.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
You're crazy.
Go ahead.
Absolutely insane.
Spit out what you were saying.
I'm trying to. If you would stop talking. When you're done talking, I'll talk.
Tyler, all you've been doing is talking, and you're going all around the subject of what we're talking about.
Because it's really cut.
Because
really
you keep talking about Tom Brady. This has nothing to do with Tom Brady. Yeah, because Tom Brady shouldn't have gotten to half their MVPs that he got in the Super Bowl. Let's be honest.
Kaepernick was 16 of 28 for 302 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had 7 rushes for 62 yards and a touchdown.
MVP. He would have been the MVP of that game.
I
don't think so.
I would have to look at
those numbers. Those numbers are better than 2 or 3 of Tom Brady's Super Bowl MVPs. You could go to his MVPs. They had 2 really good Super Bowls. He's had 3. The two giant Super Bowls that he completely bombed. Okay, so just speak and finish up what you were saying.
Yeah, bombed.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Pass. Are you speaking? What are you saying? Or I'm going to cut in and just completely outrule you on this because
you're not outruling anything. It's common sense.
Common sense.
If they blackballed him, he would not be able to be mentioned. He was mentioned on every freaking telecast you could have possibly mentioned. If he was blackballed, they would have never paid him anything. And quite frankly, if you really, really think about it, he really just threw it, his film on the sideline, and that's why his play declined. He didn't take a knee for no social standing, because why would you support Fidel Castro and say blah, blah, blah,
Craig
and then not even
missed
vote?
That again. He missed an easy kick.
Not looking good, Carl.
So anyway, yeah, Greg Zerline, great kicker. Yeah, he's looking around. Great. There's no blackballing. Was he blackballed? Maybe. Maybe he was. But the fact, maybe. All I know, if he was blackballed, the Niners would have cut him. And they would not have played the full year and then not found a job. His play declined. Stop bringing up Super Bowls. At the time, he's lucky he even started.
Tyler, how old was he when he was blackballed?
25, 26.
And you think his play declined? When he was, at one point, one of the best young quarterbacks in all of the NFL?
Cam Newton's what, 30? Yeah. 31?
Cam Newton's shoulder went out. How many times do we have to say this?
So what?
Colin Kaepernick's shoulder was not hurt. He never tore his ACL.
Went to a Super Bowl.
And Colin Kaepernick was one of those quarterbacks, first mobile quarterbacks since Aaron Rodgers that really became that player. They were comparing. They thought that Colin Kaepernick at one point was going to be better than Russell Wilson.
That's crazy.
Really? Really? Because there was a lot of people that thought that.
There were
a lot of people saying that.
I never thought it, but there were people.
There were a lot of people saying that. Why? Now it's crazy. But at one point, it wasn't crazy. And he got blackballed.
He wasn't an accurate passer.
Oh, my God, Tyler. You don't have to.
Accurate.
Either is your guy over there for the Ravens, and he won an MVP.
I don't like Lamar Jackson.
Very good. He won an MVP, right?
Yeah, as a runner.
No.
So did Cam Newton.
He threw over 3,500 yards that year that he won the MVP. And he ran 1,000 yards. 3,500 yards.
Okay.
He did.
That's probably one of the lowest totals in recent history of the Super.
So if you run 1,000 yards and throw 3,500 yards, that's not impressive.
It is impressive.
All right. So what are you saying?
I can assure you that somebody else deserved
So what are you
that
saying?
year.
I'm lost here.
I don't know what you're saying. You brought up Lamar Jackson. I'm not bringing up Lamar Jackson.
For what you're
Kaepernick
saying,
got lost because Kaepernick wasn't that great of a quarterback.
you're wrong. Tyler,
What do
you're
you
wrong.
mean?
You're wrong, Tyler.
We don't see quarterbacks decline. You just said Cam Newton declined overnight.
First of all, he did,
and Cam Newton was better at his height than
everybody knows what happened to Colin Kaepernick. Their coach, obviously, Jim Harbaugh left, who helped Alex Smith develop his skill, and then obviously he went to Alex Smith because of Colin Kaepernick, went to Kansas City and helped Kansas City really grow that team and build that team with Andy Reid before obviously Patrick Mahomes came into the mix. And by the way, Colin Kaepernick was the next big thing. He was one of the top 4 or 5 young quarterbacks in the league that everybody was talking about him being the next big superstar in the league. Now, my argument to you is that to tell me and sit here today and tell me that Colin Kaepernick, not only that he was blackballed, the fact that they gave him a chance to go and play in front of a bunch of teams where he had no chance making it. That's why he wasn't in shape.
How did he have no chance?
Again, the NFL made that to make it seem like they weren't. They were giving him another opportunity to make the for 3 years. If you're not playing, yes, I am. And if you're not playing 3 years of NFL football, you might as well tell your career to be over.
Okay,
your
then so why fight for it?
Fight for what?
Kaepernick wanted the workout.
Do you know why Colin Kaepernick wanted the workout?
Why?
But why do you think?
Publicity,
press
his
coverage,
Nike ad,
his documentary. That's
sure.
right. That's why he did it, because he's going to make. And when you watch that documentary,
and
when
he's
you
got
watch that
people
documentary,
like you by the strings of their neck.
Get out of here.
What do you mean? You just admitted to it.
No, I'm telling you.
You just said that he deserves a job in the NFL, and then in the same breath said he held a workout, not wanting the job. He wanted it for press conference.
No, he knew he wasn't going to get it. Not that he didn't want the job. He knew he wasn't going to make a team even if he threw the ball.
And then when the Ravens were going to bring him in and work him out, and his girlfriend made a big stink about it, then why was that not covered?
Ravens weren't going to take him either.
Okay.
They had no interest in taking him.
Right.
You're on drugs.
Ben says he was just shy of getting to the Super Bowl in the next season. He's not a good player, Tyler. That's insane. He was blackballed. Carl says, wow, Tyler, you are so off base. Niners did cut him. Snug says the Cowboys are killing it. The kick is up. Clang, no good. Carl says, meant to say the Niners were going to cut him. The workout was 3 years later, Tyler. Ben says turnover. Carl says Jesus. And Snug says the Bucs are desperately trying to give the game away.
I told you guys what's going to happen in this game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will lose this game.
There was an interception thrown because Leonard Fournette dropped a screen pass and it fell into
and by the way, I wasn't the first person that thought this was going to happen. Jeff from Tampa was the guy that really said that this is a game that they could lose. But getting back into that, and we brought Kaepernick back into this conversation because the vaccination, the NFL is trying to spin the wheel, make the deal. They want to be the first organization, the first professional sport to mandate these vaccine shots, or if they don't take the vaccination, they could suspend them, blackball them, or they can lose their opportunity to play professional football for the rest of their careers, or obviously forfeit for their other players on their team if they play and they don't get the vaccination. I think what the NFL is doing is an absolute catastrophe. And I brought up Colin Kaepernick because what they did to Colin Kaepernick was absolutely horrendous. They were wrong. They paid him. And by the way, when they paid him, before he took the money that they gave him, he had to sign a contract not to reveal how much money they paid him to go away, because they paid him a lot of money. I don't know how much it was. I think Jeff told me at one point he heard it was between 25 and 30 million. And there are other people that told me it was a little bit more than that. But the fact is that he can't go and he can't speak up. He can't talk on his documentary about how much the NFL gave him is a complete joke. And the NFL giving him an opportunity to throw the ball in front of teams was another selling point, not only for themselves to make themselves not look as bad, because they got ransacked. They got killed when Colin Kaepernick was suspended and blackballed for 3 years. Do you know how many people were complaining and attacking the situation and what they did to that kid? And look at the kid. I don't care what you say, Tyler. He deserved another opportunity. There are other players like Greg Hardy that got his job after almost killing his girlfriend, drowning her in a toilet bowl, beating the crap out of her, okay? And he's playing NFL football with Dallas. the next year after that, and he wasn't really suspended. What, he suspended for 2 games? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, it was so stupid the first year. Then I think 6 games he got the second year. But it was like right after the Panthers cut him for that, and he was a nice pass rusher with the Panthers. The Cowboys signed him like a week later or something like that. So stupid. Snug says, if you know you're not going to get it, why bother unless you're looking to exploit it? Carl says, nice catch, Fournette. Diggs with the pick. Bama player. Snug said, it hits Fournette in the wrong place in the hands. I wish my job or the government would mandate I eat tacos at least once a week. And Carl says, the grievance filed by Kaepernick claimed the owners were colluding against him. As a result, the NFL offered the confidential settlement. Why offer a settlement if they knew they weren't wrong, Tyler? They made a business
Hold on, you
move.
never see athletes make settlements so something goes away? Come on, let's get honest here.
Ben says Eric Reed and Kaepernick got under $10 million from the NFL. Just
Eric
under.
Reed was employed not too long ago.
Yeah, he was. He wasn't blackballed like Colin Kaepernick.
So if another guy took a knee, why wasn't he blackballed too?
There were a bunch of players that got blackballed. The only person there was a bunch of players that kneed and didn't get blackballed, didn't get suspended. But
right.
Colin Kaepernick,
why him?
Why what? Exactly why him? Because he was the first person to do it, and he was the first person to speak up on what he believed and what he stood for. And the NFL didn't like it because Donald Trump didn't like it. So you know what they did? They suspended him and blackballed him.
Carl says it is like a big company settling out of court with a slip and fall victim so they don't have to deal with bad publicity or get sued for a ton.
So there you go. And that's why I sit here, and it really does bother me because I'm looking at professional sports. And again, I brought up Colin Kaepernick because I'm looking forward to this documentary. I really am, with the Netflix, because all the story behind it, you heard so many different things from writers, from his voice, and he couldn't speak up. And he had the opportunity. Netflix actually paid for the rights to produce this documentary. And I'm looking forward to it because I want to hear what he's got to say. We still won't know how much the NFL paid him. And obviously Ben says under 10 million. I think it was a lot more than that, Ben. I think it was a lot more than that. But I also believe that Colin Kaepernick has a lot to say about this junction. And by the way, with his girlfriend and everything, and his girlfriend should have shut up. She shouldn't have opened her mouth. I think it really affected the movement of the process of everything. So what was this? A touchdown?
Antonio Brown.
I told you, Antonio Brown's going to have a good year. He's in great shape, and this is going to be a high-scoring game, which I predicted to be as well. But anyways, they're both defenses. And by the way, I think Tampa's defense is highly overrated this year. And it's the same defense that played last year. They're older. Their secondary is not. Their secondary is young. But besides their secondary, they're an old front seven. So, and I will say it again, you will see the age of this front seven moving forward this year, because I don't think Tampa's defense is as good as people think it is. But anyways, any thoughts to what we were talking about? Speedy, you have any more to entail to this conversation? Because I'm upset. I've been reading different things from different NFL players on their standing. They're putting their foot down, and as well as they should. Nobody should be mandated or forced to take something they don't believe in taking. And the fact that the NFL wants to hurt these players and really hurt, and I understand these owners, they have every right. It's their team. It's their stadium. They're paying the players. They're making they're taking the money and investing into the players. But without the players, there is no game. There is no money. There is no anything.
Yeah, it's a difficult stretch. And I think the biggest thing is individual risk is the whole thing. The owners are obviously the powerful ones, so they're going to be looked at as the ones that are being forceful, like you were saying, and they're the ones that are not really making this decision any better. It's a personal decision. It just has its risks, and their teammates are going to now have to forfeit games because one guy, who could be maybe a prominent guy like Kirk Cousins, like Cam Newton, but it could be the fourth wide receiver that says, no, I'm not taking the vaccine and gets it. So I would feel bad for those kinds of players because I don't like these forfeit rules whatsoever, especially in football, because it's a shorter season. The games matter even more. So I would feel bad for those kinds of things players that either were quarantining or stayed disciplined and took the vaccine and they did their job, then they're going to lose out on a game. They're going to lose out on a playoff spot, a potential playoff game because of that. It seems a little selfish in a way for certain players, but again, it's your choice. If that's the stand you want to take, go for it. I'm not against taking that stand. It's just you have your own risk.
Why isn't Drew Brees commentating?
Not sure.
Wasn't Drew Brees supposed to commentate?
Yeah.
He's not commentating tonight.
Unless he doesn't do the Thursday games, maybe he only does the Sunday.
It doesn't matter. If you're commentating with NBC, you should be commentating it on Thursday night if it's airing Thursday Night Football. Why the hell is Drew Brees not there? It's Chris. So and I thought Chris didn't get signed. I thought Chris was not signed.
I know it's weird. You're right.
Collinsworth wasn't signed.
It's a 3-day time. There's enough time to fly from Tampa Bay to LA for the Sunday night game. So yeah, that doesn't really make much sense. Carl says, you know whose age you won't see? Tom Brady. Wow, that DB played that miserably. That was essentially a straight go route.
Drew Brees is part of the desk crew with Tirico.
Oh, okay.
He's not doing the play-by-play, which sucks because I want to see how much, because we've seen what Tony Romo has done.
Oh, yeah.
And he's become a star.
Amazing.
And Tony Romo's making $20 million. He's making more money as a commentator / broadcaster than he was on the football field. So I wanted to see Drew Brees do that.
Yeah.
So I guess he's not doing that. He's going to be doing, I guess, the halftime
Studio
show.
analysis.
Yes.
Yeah. Carl says, wow, the DB played that miserably. That was essentially a straight go route. I want to say he played trail technique, but it just got flat out beat. Carl also says Drew Brees is part of the desk crew with Tirico, as you mentioned. And Snug says, Drew Brees and I are going to do the regional coverage games for the South. I love Drew, but he often steals my French fries, and then we fight. Yeah, and Ben also says, yeah, did the preview opening show. Carl says, haha, it's a Snug. And Snug says, well, Tony Romo was better as a broadcaster than he was on the field.
That's not true. I mean, Tony Romo's a pretty good football player. Now, he's not a Hall of Famer, and he didn't play well in the playoffs. We all know that Tony never did shine in the playoffs, but he was a very good regular season quarterback. And at one point, I think it was 1 or 2 years that he was an MVP, a top 5 MVP candidate with his numbers. So Tony Romo was a good football player. He just wasn't very good in the big game, which affected
late games and playoff games.
Affected who he was really when you compare him to the Eli Mannings of the world, the Ben Roethlisbergers and the Phillip Rivers, who were drafted in the same draft. Well, he wasn't drafted; he was undrafted, but in the same draft that they were both, all of them were intending. So, anyways, any of you guys have any thoughts to this conversation? Because I'm pretty much done with this. Tyler, I know you're a little quiet on this because you're a little upset because you're making your own opinions towards something that I believe you probably don't know as much as you think you know behind it.
No, not necessarily. I think everyone just makes excuses.
There's no excuse.
I'm not.
These are facts.
I've told me
facts.
we're not getting into politics, and I'm not bringing
No,
up
it's
politics.
not. But we're not getting into politics.
No, I know you're not. But to me, this conversation is just it's so over. The guy lost his job, made more money probably because he lost his job than he would have made during his career, and that's fine. Do you know how much Nike paid him?
Do you know how much Kaepernick was getting offered by the 49ers, which he didn't take?
Why wouldn't you take it?
What do you mean? Why didn't you take it? Because he believed that
you want to be an NFL quarterback. Why wouldn't you take the most lucrative deal the country's probably ever seen?
Hold on one second. The 49ers offered him, before this whole Black Lives Matter happened, the year before, they offered him a 5
years,
like $100 million or something.
No, I think it was more than that. I think it was in the 120 range.
$120 million. He would not take the money because he thought that the year after that he was going to be prepared to make a little bit more and be the highest paid quarterback in the league. The same guy that you said was not anywhere close to NFL quarterback anymore. He had one bad season. They benched him because, why did they bench him? Because of what he was doing with his socks, with what's his name again, the Cuban or the...
Oh, yeah, the Fidel Castro.
Castro.
Mm-hmm.
He was,
forgot about that.
There was a couple of things that he was doing that pissed people off, so the 49ers suspended him, had him sitting on the bench, and then the whole Black Lives Matter started when he was kneeling, and wasn't even Black Lives Matter. He just was doing it for police brutality. Right. Okay? And that's where it all stirred up. So I think a lot of people forget that whole story and that whole thing behind it. Colin Kaepernick was going to be, if not the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And he was on his way of still being one of the top young quarterbacks in this league. And who knows, if he wasn't suspended for those 3 years, Colin Kaepernick could still be playing in this league, and maybe eventually, again, still at the top of his game.
Yeah, Tyler, he looked like he had 2 bad years, 2014 and 2015, but actually 2016, after the preseason when he initially knelt, and he only played 11 games, but 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 20. No, he didn't start the beginning of the season because Chip Kelly was doing Chip Kelly things, and he started playing Gabbard for some reason. 16 touchdowns, though, 4 interceptions, 41 yards, and rushing quarterback rating in 90.7. So he actually had a pretty good stretch in those 11 games for a really, really bad Niners team. So.
He's a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback. They screwed him, and it's a shame what happened to him. It really is. But you know what? In the end, Colin Kaepernick will always be remembered, not by his game, by what he stood for and what he stands for. And still to this day, Jay-Z and all these, everybody thinks that Colin Kaepernick is a hero for what he did.
Ben says, Romo is bad at both playing and broadcasting. Carl says, Tyler's go-to line when arguing, all your heads are so far up your asses. Ha, ha, ha. Mm-hmm. It was social justice, Tyler, not politics. Snug says, all I know is that growing up, I was taught you don't discuss politics or religion at work. It applies to all jobs.
That's true.
Carl says, when Shanahan came in, 49ers hid behind the belief that Kaepernick didn't fit the new system. Ben says, Clinton Portis, Tamarick Vanover, and Robert McHugh.
Oh, you heard about that?
Yeah, that was actually a very, very
get into that.
shady story. Accused
you hear about
of
that?
defrauding NFL retirement healthcare system for $3 million. Yeah, they actually got healthcare benefits.
They were stealing money,
stealing healthcare benefits
from the
that
NFL.
They didn't actually earn.
That was a guy working for the NFL. I forget his name. Was it McCune?
McHugh was the main mastermind, is what they were saying.
He was running this, like, I guess, what do they call this?
They called it post-player benefits. I forget the exact name of the corporation, but they were getting more than the players were supposed to get for those healthcare benefits. They were stealing from it, and they were stealing over millions of dollars from that. Clinton Portis was also the same guy.
$90,000 Clinton Portis took in a 2 year span.
I think McHugh took close to $1 million though.
Yeah, right? But I'm telling you, Clinton Portis, I think it was like or $95,000,
right.
Which I don't know why he needs to do that. I mean, he's
Clinton Portis actually, I think in 2012, I believe he filed for bankruptcy. So
what the hell did he do with all his money?
I don't remember.
Stupid dresses.
Yeah, I don't remember why, but yeah, he did actually file for bankruptcy. I remember that. I don't really know enough about the other two guys to judge that. Vanover played in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think he was Chiefs and Chargers, I want to say, and he had an okay career, but Portis was a very good running back. Yeah, I don't know what he was able to, what he did with that money, but yeah, he actually filed for bankruptcy.
He made a lot of money as an NFL player.
I know.
With the Broncos and then the Washington at the time, the Washington Redskins.
Yeah. Matt, look at that trade. They traded him for Champ Bailey.
Mm-hmm. Champ Bailey is still the Champ Bailey special.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh yeah,
Hall of Famer.
Easily.
Clinton Portis obviously could have been a Hall of Famer because he
not
stay healthy.
Yeah. At the end of his career, that's
what
held him back because he was a special player.
But really, getting into that story, you talk about the NFL. Think about it this way: the NFL was so worried about over the last couple of years changing rules, the Colin Kaepernick thing, while things were going right under their noses. And this has a lot to do with Roger Goodell, who's a smart guy, who, by the way, is making almost $48 million a year. He's got lifetime benefits, which the players finally got that because of the argument, the CTE situation. Yeah. And that's another thing that they screwed up on. And hence a lot of great players like Patrick Willis, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, a lot of big name players retired. Calvin Johnson retired at a young age because after the CTE thing came out, they were scared that it was going to hurt and affect their natural born lives after their careers.
There are a couple of players even retiring after like 2 years in the league or 1 year in the league. They just played a year and then they retired. They were just afraid of the health concerns of the CTE. So,
and you talk about this story. Now it's coming out, and I'm sure there's a lot more behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more behind it. And I wouldn't be surprised if one of these big executives or even some of the team owners were a part of this. Mm-hmm. You know, and everybody's going to say, why is the team owners going to do that? They have billions of dollars because the team owners don't want to spend the money out of their own pockets. So what are they going to do? They're going to find a way to lowball something where the players can obviously somehow it'll pick up their benefits for a certain amount of time so they can get away with it where it's hidden behind some kind of rule or some kind of law. And that's what I mean. Everybody's a thief. Everybody's a thief. Professional sports, they've been stealing from fans. They've been stealing. Look at this UFC fight that's coming up in Madison Square Garden. One of the best cards I've seen in a very long time. Okay, one of the best cards. The cheapest seat is $600. You're talking about boonies, $600. You can't even see the octagon, and people are paying just because they want to see the craziness of the fans. Do you know what the seats are on the floor? $5,000.
Oh.
$5,000 to go to a UFC fight. Are you kidding me?
Who's the card?
Oh, it's a huge card. I'll pick up the card. There's a bunch of big fights on that card. It's actually a really, really good card.
32. Only the Cowboys.
Well, and the Cowboys will probably get a first down. No, they won't. That was actually a good play by Dak Prescott. He didn't throw the ball away. But
Carl says, get your cash if you can. That's Tyler's motto. He just said so. Ben said McCune. Snug says, I will remember.
That is my motto. I said that, though.
Carl said it. Snug says, I will remember Kaepernick for having the best afro in the NFL. Carl says, Clinton Portis, part of the 7th Floor crew. Go check out the song they did. Greg Olson rapping like Tyler on it.
Yeah, you want to hear the card?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Speedy. Finish that.
Okay. Snug says he did have the best wigs. You guys should go to Clinton Portis Day in studio and wear crazy wigs picked by the viewers. Carl says 100% yes. Free Portis Day. Ben says, mate, Warren.
What's with him wearing wigs? I don't ever remember Clinton Portis.
You never seen him do that?
Yeah, he had a.
The NFL did a documentary on Clinton Portis. I'm sorry.
Somebody's down.
It's not Dominic.
It's William Golston. Yeah. Ben says Warren Sapp made $82 million over his NFL career and also filed for bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Snug says,
So did look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson made $400 million and gave Don King about half of that too. He was really a billionaire, and he claimed bankruptcy, and he still has money. So just because they claim bankruptcy doesn't mean they don't have millions.
No, they're just reorganizing their assets.
Right.
Snug says free Portis and ban the Beeve. Well, hell, somebody who wants the sports lab melts with I'd only charge 2 cupcakes. And Carl says Clinton Portis had an alter ego. It was bizarre.
The UFC 268 fight card goes like this. Lightweight, this is the main card. Al Iaquinta, which is from Long Island, very good friend of mine, versus Bobby Green. They did that purposely. Bantamweight, Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. This is a good fight. Frankie Edgar is from this area, the tri-state area.
He's like 40.
No, he's not. Frankie is a good friend of mine. No, he's not. He's 36. Women's bantamweight, Jermaine D. Randami versus Irina Aldana, and both are number 1 and number 2 contenders for the women's bantamweight. Then middleweight, Sean Strickland versus Luke Rockhold, who hasn't fought in a long time. That's going to be a really good fight. Lightweight, Justin Gagey versus Michael Chandler. That's a fantastic fight. And then you have women's strawweight title champion Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili, who they fought, and Weili got knocked out by Rose, and she gave Zhang her first loss. And then the welterweight title champion Kamaru Usman for the second fight versus Colby Covington. So that's going to be a fantastic fight too. So yeah, that is one of the best cards I've seen in a very long time. And believe it or not, the last great card I saw was a Madison Square Garden card with Conor McGregor on that card. He won that double title versus what's his name again?
That's one when Lesnar won the Octagon.
Was it Lesnar? Yeah, I think Lesnar was in the Octagon. He didn't fight on that card.
No, but isn't that when DC won the title and then Lesnar came in?
I'm not sure, but I remember that. I remember that card was a fantastic card. But again, going back to the conversation that we were having, and this, it bothers me. You know, it bothers me when we talk about professional sports and how professional sports, if it's not one sport where the players run the sport, it's the owners, it's the commissioners screwing it up, it's politics screwing something up that's screwing, you know, the way the game is played or the game is moving
life right now, though.
You know, but this has been going on forever. It's been going on forever. This hasn't happened overnight. This is every 10 years, every 15 years, something stupid happens in professional sports.
But you know what's crazy? And listen, I understand that, you know, we're talking about most athletes' careers, I'd say, are probably anywhere between max 3 to 5 years, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, I think the average is even less. It's like 2.3 or
Right.
something.
If you include all sports, it is probably less. So we'll give them 2.5 to 3 years, right, to really make your money.
Mhm.
Everyone, though, seems to forget that you can still make a shit ton of money during that time
Mhm.
to play a sport that children play for free. So we're not getting into politics. We're not doing anything right now. All I'm trying to say is that if you're playing a sport and you're being loved by millions of people, just enjoy it. Why do we have to bring politics into it? Or why do we have to bring in anything to it? It's a freaking game. We watch sports to get away from all the other stuff, not to bring it in and ruin it. So why don't we go back to that? Athletes can have their opinion. Athletes can tell me why, especially to be and not to get uncomfortable.
By the way, what are the Ravens doing? They just signed
Le'Veon
Le'Veon Bell, and now today the Ravens signed Devontae Freeman.
That's because they lost Justice Hill and Gus Edwards in the
That's
last.
fine. Why are
24
you bringing all these guys in? You're all these has-beens.
Because they need running backs.
You're bringing in has-beens. Devontae Freeman is a has-been, and let's be honest. Le'Veon Bell hasn't been the same player since he left the Pittsburgh Steelers and
Oh, you
sat
didn't
out
like
for a
his
year.
Jet tenure?
Oh, loved it. Absolutely adored it. After the $40 million that they gave him. Give me a break.
Anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, so
blabbing.
Oh, that's fine. So I'm not saying athletes can't voice their opinion. That's what social media is for. If you want to talk about after or before the game about anything, that's fine. During the game, from kickoff to opening pitch to final out, or when the clock strikes 0, just leave it alone. Leave the jerseys alone. Leave the ice alone. For the love of God, leave the hardwood alone. Just leave it alone. You can tell me why you think police are unfair to minorities or, other diverse cultures. That's fine. I understand that. You're allowed by all means to tell me that. That's your freedom of speech. But when you sign a contract for a private entity on any franchise, you have to listen to that franchise about how they want you to go about your beliefs. If they tell you from January to March, you can say it. But after March, you're kind of hard-pressed to find time. That's what you signed up for, and you're getting paid a lot of money to do so. It's not like you're not selling your soul to the devil. You can still have your freedom of speech. You just have to limit it. And that's what everyone's losing sight of here. Now we have to be liberal all the time. We have to be conservative all the time. We have to do this. We have to do that. You don't have to do anything. Just play the sport the way it was intended years ago, and we'll all be fine.
Carl says, needed that 6-pointer from Zerline. He missed another kick. Snug says, in the prelims, the Beeve is fighting a kangaroo. Smart money is on the roo. Snug says, every 10 or 15 minutes, something crazy happens in my life. Most of it is pastry related. Carl says, Kaepernick did it before the game, Tyler. Errol, is it your franchise?
Again.
Tell Tyler to shut it on this. Haha.
Again, I didn't say he couldn't kneel or he could kneel. But if the Niners told him to stop kneeling, then as an employee of the San Francisco 49ers, you have to stop.
It's a freedom of speech.
That's not true.
It's a freedom of speech.
But
we're from a democracy, right?
We're not a democracy.
Not anymore. No, what happened?
We're a republic of a democracy. There's a huge difference.
We're still a democracy, right?
It's more complicated than that.
But we're not talking politics. But are we not a democracy? Yes or no?
No.
We're not a democracy.
No.
It doesn't say in the Constitution that we're a democracy.
Well, you said about an hour ago the Constitution doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything anymore because obviously what's going on.
I agree with you.
But it's affected
We're
not just
supposed to
sports
be a
but
democracy,
politics.
but we're not.
It's affecting everything in the world we live in. But nevertheless, I want to get off this. Let's go into this TJ Watt thing. What are your guys' thoughts with the TJ Watt? I didn't even know that story, Tyler. So I'll ask you first. TJ Watt gets a 5-year deal,
It was a
4-year deal,
for 128, I think.
and 112, which makes him the highest. He makes $80 million guaranteed, which he's the highest paid linebacker in NFL history and one of the highest paid defensive players of all time. So what are you guys' thoughts? Do you think TJ Watt is worth that money? Yes or no? And what are your thoughts now with these contracts starting to move up with defensive players? Just think about it now. Defensive players now are making close to 130, going to be making close to 120, $130 million for a 4-year deal. just imagine what these quarterbacks are going to start bringing in. You're talking about Patrick Mahomes getting a $500 million contract. You had, obviously, what's his name again from the Buffalo Bills? Josh Allen getting the highest paid quarterback guaranteed money this offseason. What is the NFL going to do with the salary cap, and how does this help the NFL, knowing that you have quarterbacks and defensive players making that kind of money where it could affect your team and hurt your team? Now you can't keep the players. In 5 years, you're going to have to decide what 2 players you're going to keep, and the other 5 players you're going to have to let go, and you got to rebuild. So what are you guys' thoughts to this TJ Watt deal? Do you think it was a good deal? Does this affect the NFL?
It's interesting because the Steelers are one of those organizations that they tend to home grow a lot of their players. So if they want to keep their own guys, they generally have done this. This is a bit of a much money for what they normally do, because they normally are better with making those deals work. They don't generally, except for a couple instances like Big Ben, Antonio Brown's first contract, stuff like that. They didn't massively overpay for guys. So this was a little bit of a stretch for what they're normally used to. But TJ Watt, again, he's been a fantastic player, though. And I think being young, great run stopper, has improved in coverage year to year. One defensive player of the year last year, was a runner-up the year before. I would say he deserves it in terms of the money. I'm just surprised the Steelers, in the situation they're in and the way they normally operate, gave that to him, because $35 million for an average annual value a year is a lot, and the Steelers need a lot of different things. So they're going to have to hope they can get back to their ways of drafting well and hanging on to their players and making them work in the system, because they haven't done that as well lately. So that's the risk they run. I think Watt himself deserves the money for what he's been, but I worry about it from the Steelers' perspective.
How about you, Tyler? What are your thoughts to the TJ Watt contract?
I would never give him that money, because now what you're talking about is you have to go get you draft a quarterback. So it's not really going to affect the quarterback, because you're going to draft the kid probably. I don't see the Steelers bringing in a free agent veteran and replacing Big Ben overnight. So long-term wise, it's going to affect that team greatly. That offensive line needs to get rebuilt from scratch. Juju did you a favor this offseason, signed for cheap. He's probably not going to do it again. Are you going to sign him? You're going to let him go? Even if you don't let him go, Deontay Johnson and Claypool's contracts will have to get paid. You need a tight end to speak of. Ebron is gone last I checked, right? Ebron's no longer the tight end.
No, I think he's still there.
You think he's still there?
I think he's still there.
All right, so even so, his contract will probably be up
I
soon.
think they re-signed a 2-year deal. I think they gave him a 2-year deal.
Still got to sign him soon. So, I mean, and then you look at the defense. Minka Fitzpatrick is very important to that defense. Are you going to be able to pay him what he's worth?
Didn't they pay him already?
I don't think so.
Well, he had an extension, didn't he? He got an extension with
Miami. A first round pick, but
no. He had he got Miami gave him an extension. I think it was a 4 or 5 year extension, and then he was traded, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he had an extension.
I thought they were giving it to him in the second year in the league.
I don't know. Anyways.
I think he's been on the trade block because the Steelers have had trouble giving him the money he wants. So now that this contract is there, it definitely hinders it, like he was saying, because it's $35 million a year for one player. You got probably some receivers.
He has an extension. 4 years, $16 million. I just want to see when it ends.
I told you there was.
Yeah.
So
hold on. It ends after. So it's this year, and then next year, and then he's gone.
Right. So they still have him for another year. So they need to win now, or either they're going to decide to keep Minka Fitzpatrick, or they're going to trade Minka Fitzpatrick for a first-round draft pick, which that's what Miami did. They traded him for a first-round draft pick.
I get it.
And he's their best defensive player, I believe.
I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. You're going to pay him what he's worth, because he's worth more than TJ Watt is.
He's a corner. You do pay him.
You know, he's a lot of things.
Yeah, but
right.
But he's a corner. He's a natural.
But look
corner.
at how that defense played before they
there.
traded for him.
Right.
When they traded for him, that became the best defense in the NFL.
They were the best defense in the NFL. No, they weren't.
Not last year when they traded.
No. The small stretch, the second half.
They were
of the
good.
Season,
they weren't the best defense.
They were a top defense. In that
they were a
stretch.
top 10, but they weren't a top.
They did have some bad collapses at the end of that season, though.
Yeah, they weren't a top 5 defense. They were a top 10.
The trade for him changed that whole defense.
Absolutely did.
So now what I'm saying is, how are you going to pay him? You're not paying him.
Well, they're going to have the money.
And Hayward.
Ben Roethlisberger will be gone. He's gone. And they're going to go for a rookie quarterback. That's what that's what they're going to do. They're going to draft a rookie quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised in this coming draft they draft their future quarterback of the future. If they don't have one on their roster right now, I don't think he is.
You think it's Mason Rudolph?
Not Mason
or Dwayne
Rudolph.
Haskins.
No, well, that's what they speak very high of Dwayne Haskins. I don't believe Dwayne Haskins is going to be any good of a quarterback because we saw him enough with the Washington football team that he's not. But and he's not a team player. We heard all the stories about Dwayne Haskins when he played for the Washington football team. So, and that's why a lot of the players couldn't stand him, and that's why he needed to get the hell out of there. But to me, when you talk about it, they'll have enough money to resign. And with the CBA going up in the next 2 years, and with the NFL having fans now in the crowds, and
Interesting.
and all what interesting what? What are you talking about?
Ezekiel Elliott had 4 carries in the whole first half.
Well, I'm not surprised. That's actually
Tampa's
bad.
got a great run defense.
And
It's probably
I
a game
keep
plan
telling
against
everybody,
it.
Mike McCarthy don't like to run the ball. I've been saying this since Mike McCarthy went to the Cowboys. And every Cowboy fan says, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been watching Mike McCarthy coach for the Green Bay Packers for like 10 years. And the best running back he possibly had was Eddie Lacy. He had 2 good seasons as a running back, and that was it. He never had a good running back. And when he did run the ball with a good running back, you barely saw
was
it.
better than Eddie Lacy.
What happened?
Amon Green was better.
He didn't coach Amon Green.
He didn't coach Amon Green.
Mike Holmgren coached Amon Green.
Yeah.
Amon Green was on the Texans, I think, when Mike McCarthy took over.
Never won.
Ryan Grant was the only one who had, I think, a 1,000-yard
it is.
season besides
Ryan
that.
Grant's
But that was 1 year. That was 1 year.
Yeah, he stunk.
Right. He wasn't a great. No, I didn't say he was a great running back. I'm saying I think he was the only other 1,000-yard season in that stretch. Eddie Lacy.
He never coached a good running back, really. He never did because his game doesn't. His offensive style of game, as his West Coast offense, is more. Now there are West Coast offenses like Andy Reid that's more run first, throw second, have deep threats, and use the deep threats to move around the field, either in the slot or on the outside. That's what he does. Tyreek Hill could do both things. And then you have Travis Kelce, who's really a big wide receiver that can do the short passes because he's so big. So, and then they have the running backs that can catch the ball in the backfield and actually run up the gut and use the power game. That's Andy Reid's West Coast offense. They come from the same Gibbs type of offense. You know what I mean? Not even Gibbs. What's
Bill Walsh?
Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh was the
Bill
original.
Walsh from the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're both from Bill Walsh's, tree.
Right.
So even Holmgren is from the Bill Walsh tree. So when you talk about what he is and what Mike McCarthy is now, Mike McCarthy is not going to change his game automatically because he has Ezekiel Elliott. When Ezekiel Elliott at one point was the highest paid player and the highest running back and still the highest paid running back in the NFL. So I'm telling you right now, I told a bunch of people. Everybody asked me, "Would you draft?" And Zeke looked really good on Hard Knocks. I think that the Cowboys should trade Zeke. If he has anything close to 2 or 3 good games, I would trade Zeke and try to get as much as you can for him because he's better off going to play for another team that runs the ball more than a team that doesn't run the ball at all.
Ship him to the Ravens now. You might get a second-round pick.
Might even get a first because they need a running back so bad. Look what they're doing. Devontae Freeman,
Le'Veon
who
Bell, was really bad with the Giants last year.
I mean, seriously,
Le'Veon Bell, who hasn't
trying
played
to hit
in 3 years,
trying to skip a rock on the water. I mean, it's stupid.
I mean, granted, the Ravens have had random.
Zeke can play still, and he looks really good, really light. But on this Cowboy team, let's be honest, he's not running the ball. He's not going to touch the ball. Look at the weapons they have: CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, Amari Cooper, even the tight ends that they have now. And Dak wants to throw the ball. That's what he wants to do.
Now, granted, if there's any team that could randomly break out those types of running backs, it could be the Ravens. They made Justin Forsett and Alex Collins and guys like that work in recent years that nobody's ever heard of. And then they work for a year and then they fall off. So who knows? Maybe they'll get something to work. Le'Veon Bell, with all the receiver injuries, if he does make the active roster, may be at least something as a pass catching back because he still was very good at that.
Did you hear the story that there were stories coming out of Chicago that the Chicago Bears were very close to landing Matthew Stafford before the Rams pulled off that crazy trade that sent 2 first-round draft picks? By the way, if this doesn't work with Matthew Stafford, McVay is gone. I agree with you completely yesterday. Right. That was one thing I absolutely agreed with you on what you were saying. If McVay doesn't get this team to the Super Bowl this year with Matthew Stafford, I do. You gave up 2 first-round draft picks and Jared Goff, who was the number 1 pick in the draft. So you predominantly gave away your future for one player that you expect to win with. Now, I believe that Bill Belichick figured him out. He trained the league. He taught the league how to beat the Rams. through McVay's offense. McVay has not been the same coach since that year. Go look at their numbers.
Yeah, ever since the Super Bowl, it's been.
Go look at their numbers. McVay's numbers have been worse every single year since that Super Bowl. Why? Because Bill Belichick figured it out. They figured out how to stop them. Stop the running game. Stop McVay. And that's what they did. Well, their running back wasn't healthy that year going into the Super Bowl, but nevertheless, they knew how to stop him.
CJ Anderson still rushed for 150 yards against the Cowboys, though. Ben Snug says TJ Watt pay the man his money. Ben also agrees, pay TJ. Snug says TJ Watt and I love to eat pizza at 7-Eleven. Somehow he thinks it actually closes at 11 p.m. Snug says Mike McCarthy looks like a long road trucker who is a semi-pro competitive eater. Zeke is better than Barry Sanders. Trade him to the Lions. Carl says Brady with Kaepernick-like numbers in the first half. And Snug says that was a glorious win. Go Pats.
All right. So NFL insider Ian Rappaport reported in late January that the Bears were interested in trading for Stafford, saying they offered a first-round pick more than 2 Lions in exchange for a veteran quarterback. The Bears weren't the only ones interested, Shanahan admitted. The Niners were too.
Oh, the Niners are really close from what everyone was saying. I think the Rams probably maybe pumped up the offer because of the Niners.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. If Matthew Stafford went to the Niners, are they
Best
the favorites?
team in the NFL.
Are they the favorites to win the Super Bowl?
Best team in the NFL.
Are they the favorites? Yes, no. Speedy?
Depends on
Speak up and
injuries.
spit out.
Depends on injuries. If they're healthy, absolutely. They're phenomenal when they're healthy. They just have a lot of fragile players.
I still don't know what they are without Robert Saleh as their coach, as their defensive coordinator.
I think they regress a little, but you would have to think the players coming back will still make up for it.
Come on, Speedy. You're talking about a team that lost practically all their starters. They had backup players that they brought to the team in free agency just on a whim, and they were the 5th or 6th best defense, all-around defense in the league. I think
They bring it on a whim.
They brought people from, I don't know, last year, they signed 3 players off the scrapper.
Practice squads.
And everything. And they were the 5th or 6th best defense all around in all the NFL. Right. Robert Saleh was the reason because of that. Now you think that it's only going to regress a little? I think they're going to regress a little,
just because I can't imagine every player is going to get hurt again like it was last year.
That front seven.
Because you had no Nick Bosa.
There's a lot to do with coaching too.
Yeah, you had no Nick Bosa. You had no Kwan Alexander. Then they got rid of him. They lost
Dre Greenlaw was in
Dre Greenlaw, Richard Sherman. They had a lot of players hurt. Oddly enough, their most injury-prone player is Jason Verrett, and he actually stayed healthy all year. As weird as that sounds, but
he's phenomenal.
Yeah, so I think just that injury history, odds are it's not going to happen again. If it does, yeah, maybe it is a god-awful defense, because DeMeco Ryan's first-year coordinator, again, very similar system to what Saleh's going to run. I don't think they're going to change up with that, but yeah, he's not Robert Saleh. I don't think it'll be a great defense where. But
that's not what I'm asking. I just really going in this Matthew Stafford thing. We went over there. I asked you if Matthew Stafford was traded to the 49ers or he went to the Bears. Are the Bears a Super Bowl contender? No. Why not? The Bears have the best defense in the league this year.
I would take that bet.
What? You take what bet?
No, the Bears don't have the best defense.
Okay, if the Bears are healthy this year, they have the best defense in the league. How could you say that? Their front seven is by far the best front seven in all of football.
I would take San Francisco's.
No.
I would absolutely
Roquan Smith.
Fred Warner.
Mack. Okay.
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa is not Mack. He's not Mack.
But after those two, Akeem Hicks, Javon Kinlaw is just as good as
Speedy, who would you rather? Who's your front seven you would want? Do you want the Bears?
I think the Niners went healthy. I just don't trust them to stay healthy.
You think the Niners have a better front seven?
The Bears have ever since they lost Leonard Floyd, they've been missing that other pass rusher to go alongside Khalil Mack. They've tried to bring in Robert Quinn. That didn't work. They tried to platoon many different guys. They, as Carl mentioned a couple of weeks ago, they lost Trevathan for a little bit of time. And I'm with Tyler where I think Fred Warner is better than Roquan Smith. And the Niners.
How about Eddie Goldman?
Eddie Goldman's nice. But he's not really as much of a pass rush guy as some of the guys the Niners have.
He stops the runs.
D Ford hasn't really worked in that system at all yet, even when he has played. He's more of a 3-4 guy. They probably heard because of his contract, they're going to have a lot of trouble moving on from him. The secondaries are probably similar because the Niners isn't great either, and the Bears
Danny Trevathan.
Trevathan, yeah, he's hurt right now.
It doesn't matter when he's playing and he's on. You have Trevathan, Roquan Smith, Mack. You're going to tell me that this front seven isn't better than the 49ers? It is better than the 49ers. Absolutely is.
I think
Absolutely
when
is.
healthy, the Niners
Mike
are
Pennell,
better.
that this is a good front seven. How could you say that? Nick Bosa had one great year. And he can't stay
He's
healthy.
only been in the league 3 years.
That's right.
This is his third year
That's
now.
right. Last year he was
So
out.
He had a great rookie year, one rookie of the year, and then he got hurt.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Khalil Mack has done it year in and year out for the last 5
I say
6 years.
Khalil Mack's the best defensive player in football.
All right. So you have the best player in football, defensive player. You're going to tell me that the 49ers have a better front seven than the
As a
Chicago
unit,
Bears?
yes.
I don't think so. Not at all. Chicago has the best defense out of all of them. Now,
Armstead and
Carl,
Bosa
I'm not
alone.
saying that Bear losing Fuller hurts. Yes, I'm talking the front seven, not the secondary. Front seven. If I were to take a front seven right now, the Bears or the 49ers, I'm taking the Bears.
I think the best front seven in football is Washington. Of anybody.
Why? Well, no, hold on one second. Now you're talking about Washington. Washington has a bunch of young players. 5 of them have barely been in the league for more than 3 years. So you can't say the the Washington football team is the best front seven in football when they've only done it for a year. Again, the Bears, the last 2-3 seasons, they have been one of the top 3, top 4 front sevens in football. And I think this year, healthy, as soon as Trevathan comes back, which will probably be week 2 or week 3. This is the best defense, and I do believe that by the end of the year, they will be a top 3, top 2 defense all around in the NFL if they stay healthy. So, and that's what's going to bring them in. Hey, if there's any team that, besides the Green Bay Packers to come out of the NFC in that division, it is the Bears.
I agree with you.
Carl also says Eddie Goldman is solid, sat last year for COVID. Snug says, Bosa got Eored. Carl says Bears defense was on the field forever last year. They kept him in games they had no business being in. Ben says Green Bay messed up by not signing Mack. Carl says linebackers for Bears, Trevathan, Mack, Roquan Smith, and Robert Quinn.
That's not bad.
Solid.
It's not bad. Even Robert Quinn, who didn't have such a great season last year, he's still a sack guy. I think he's got like 80. He's got 80 sacks.
That's because he's got a career, but I'll take Eric Armstead over him as a complete
And
player.
Roquan,
yes.
and I'm sorry, Quinn is not that old. I think he's like 31, 32 years old. He still has a little bit more youth to him where he could play another 1 or 2 years and help this team be a contender.
The problem is he's not as much a 3-4 guy. He's more of a 4-3 guy. Even with the Rams, when the Rams got Wade Phillips, the first year McVay was there, Quinn had a lot of trouble in that defense because he was a smaller guy and not really a great run stopper. When he was in Jeff Fisher's defense and that defensive scheme, he was fantastic. He was one of the best pass rushers in the league, but he's really hasn't been the same player since he's been in 3-4 defenses.
631-672-3108 is the number to call and argue with us if you want to call the show. Haven't seen Jeff for, the last couple of weeks. Usually Jeff is calling up, attacking or saying his crazy gibberish. That I love Jeff. I miss him, but
he'll probably call and say the Patriots front seven's the best in football.
Well, he probably what happened?
It's up there.
Their
not to the level of the Niners or
it's
Washington.
They're not even close to the Rams. The Rams front seven.
Yep.
That's pretty good front seven. I mean, there's a lot of good front sevens. Indianapolis has a good front seven. You're talking about elite front seven. I don't think the Patriots.
The Cardinals.
First of all, we don't even know what the
Cardinals could be up
Patriots
there, too.
are with the players that they added to their team this offseason. We don't know how they're going to work and if they're going to work together as well as you think they
A lot of new players right now, but the Cardinals could be up there by the end of the year, too. They got a lot of good linebackers on that team. Tyler and I were going over it yesterday with the NFC West preview we were doing. They actually have more depth than I realized.
Yeah, so, I mean, you look at the Bears, even if you put the Bears in the top 3, that's saying a lot for what the Bears are. And if they can get, anything out of Justin Fields this year that can help them, because it's not going to be Andy Dalton. He'll start the first game. He'll bomb the beginning of the game, and they'll bring in Justin Fields, and he'll prove that he can play the game. He can play and be at the top of his game. And Justin Fields will take over that team, and they're going to be a contender because of it.
John Daigle was
not
saying,
a contender for a Super Bowl, but a contender to make the playoffs.
Like John Daigle was saying when we had him on back in July, Aaron Donald will hit Andy Dalton Wentz, so they'll take in Justin Fields will take over.
I agree. I just think you're looking at the big picture and you're looking at the situation with these teams and stuff like that. So I look at TJ Watt and what he's gotten paid and even this Matthew Stafford thing. Now, I don't know what Matthew Stafford is either. Matthew Stafford, he played for the Lions all those years. Now, he was he was an elite quarterback. I think he was a top 7 quarterback. And he was the number 1 pick from the Lions. I think he was rookie of the year too.
Yeah.
So he is a talented player. And being that he's going to his hometown, to the team that he rooted for when he was a kid, because remember, the LA Rams were the LA Rams when he was a kid. He rooted for the LA Rams. And being that the Super Bowl is in LA in their stadium, that's saying a lot. And that's why a lot of people think that the Rams could squeak in and make the Super Bowl, because of the fact that Matthew Stafford could really take that team to that next level if Cooper Kupp can stay healthy and some of their weapons. And they have no running game. I don't want to hear about Sonny Michel. Sonny Michel is not going to fix that running game. He's not. But I think when you look at the picture right now, the defense with Donald and obviously Ramsey and some of the players that they have on the offensive side of the ball, they can contend. So it's so interesting. And I think this year is going to be fun to watch, especially, did anybody watch week 1's games? They're going to be fun. I mean, a lot of them are competitive games. Go to the week 1's games, because I'll point them out. Week 1's games. We're really
watched them yet. They haven't happened yet. No.
Chargers at Washington, Jets at Panthers, Jaguars at Texans. That's not
Jets at Panthers. That's Sam Darnold versus his old team.
Cardinals,
Zach
Titans.
Wilson.
That could be good.
Cardinals, Titans. Going to be really good. 2 playoff teams, I believe.
Seahawks and Colts. Steelers, Bills.
Seahawks and Colts could be 2 playoff
Dolphins,
teams.
Patriots. Browns, Chiefs. That's a really good one.
Dolphins, Patriots is good. Browns, Chiefs.
Yep. Browns,
great
Chiefs.
game.
That's
a
great game. Packers, Saints. Bears, Rams. That's
That
really it
Saints
for
Packers
the.
game's gonna
That's
be
really
a
it for like the
Bears,
the
Rams.
expected contenders. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good first week. Remember last summer? Go to week 1 in last year's schedule. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. And that's what I mean. The NFL, like there are years that you like what they're doing, and there are years that like you're itching your head, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, week 1
Don't
had
miss this one.
Cardinals,
please.
49ers, Cowboys, Rams, Bucks,
Boy.
Saints.
He cut that pretty close too.
Bucks, Saints. They had Titans, Broncos. Oh wait, no, that was week 2. They had the Chargers and the Bengals. Yikes! Browns, Ravens. That was I guess on paper
19.
pretty good.
How hard is it to get that?
Yeah, you're right.
Browns were not supposed to be good last year.
No, they were supposed to be improved, but yeah, they weren't. They definitely exceeded a lot of expectations. The rest of them were mainly divisional games.
They were horrible.
Yeah.
And I remember last year. Now this year, they finally did the right thing for NFL fans. Maybe because the fans are back in the stadium.
Right.
The first week is sensational. You look at the games. I'm going to be locked to my seat watching every single game on my package, because I think all the games are going to be fun. Not only my Jets, because I get to see Zach Wilson versus Sam Darnold and see 2 quarterbacks that I hope turn out to be fantastic quarterbacks as they move forward in their careers, but also the games that we were talking about. Bears, Rams in the first week. It's great.
They play generally a lot of close, more lower scoring games the last 3 years that they've played. I think the Rams won the matchup last year, and Chicago won, I think, in the year that the Rams were the Super Bowl team. I think Chicago won that game. So they've had interesting both coaching and just defensive duels as a whole. And now the offenses would get quarterback upgrades. If Field starts, obviously. But Andy Dalton, still not an awful quarterback either, even though Field should be starting. Carl says that designed runs for Dak, not a good choice for game 1. Yeah, I guess you could put that on Mike McCarthy. Tampa Bay's front 7 is solid. Errol says old, but 8 months ago they won a title.
So what are you joking about?
The Buccaneers front 7. Buccaneers front 7.
They're old. Yeah. Last year they won a title. What makes them think they're a year older now? What makes you think that because they won a title last year that they're not going to be old this year and they're going to fall off? We've seen teams, they have great seasons one year and they look like they're at the top of the game, and because of the age of some of these players, they fall off. They can't stay healthy. They're not the same team. And I think they're an old front 7.
Snuck says Rams versus Raiders for the LA Super Bowl.
Go to the Rams front. Go to Tampa Bay's front 7. Let's go to the average age right now.
All right, so Shaq Barrett and JPP. JPP is older for sure.
Yep.
Dominic Sue's older. Vita Vea, they get back. He's still young. I think he's 25.
Mm-hmm.
William Golston's older. Levante David is older. Devin White's younger. So I would imagine it's somewhere average.
Average? I'm talking about 30 years old.
Yeah, I would
30
say
years old.
Okay.
That's old.
Mm-hmm.
That's old for a defensive line. You have 2 young players, and then you have 4 or 5 old players.
Right. Levante David, I believe is
that's
30.
an aging line.
Devin White will cancel that out a little bit, but yeah, you're right. It is mostly older, so they need to maybe get more depth in that case.
Listen. When I see it's an older line, that's all I'm saying. That doesn't mean that they can't be good. They were good last year, but that doesn't also mean that they're not going to get hurt. They're not going to stay healthy.
Well, age doesn't
age does.
Well, yeah, it can
absolutely.
affect injury. Yeah,
absolutely does. Absolutely. Why? Because Tom Brady doesn't? Because he's a quarterback?
Yeah, Tom Brady's the exception to the rule.
Yeah, he's a quarterback and he's going to protect.
name.
Because you're saying age doesn't matter. Age does matter in
but
football.
how many young players do you see get hurt every year?
A lot, because
that's what I'm saying.
But again,
it's still more likely.
It's more likely you're going to wear out, and you're going to remember as you get older, your breathing, your speed is it diminishes.
Well, yeah, right.
Everything diminishes,
especially for a defensive lineman that is older, like JPP, like Ndamukong Suh, that they play a lot of reps. They're one-on-one combat with the top offensive lineman, and again, size advantages. You're going to wear out a lot more with those kinds of positions in comparison to some other positions that maybe not as much, like a linebacker or a receiver or something like that. But that's why running backs too, the same way, because they're getting hit all the time. The offensive defensive linemen are the same way too. So somebody like Ndamukong Suh or JPP, that I guess Suh's been relatively healthy, but still is getting older. JPP's had his injury issues, and Levante David's been healthy too, but maybe this will be the first time he doesn't. I don't know.
All I'm saying that if you look at the big picture, that's when I bring up things and I'm looking at numbers and stuff like that, I'm speaking for what I see it to be. Now, I could be wrong, but let's be honest. Tampa's defense in this game has not looked good. I mean, it hasn't looked good. And Tom Brady, as good as he is, he's thrown two interceptions in this game.
One of them's not his fault.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's two interceptions.
I don't like Arians' play calling and what I've seen so far.
No, it's two interceptions.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter if it's his fault or not. It still counts as an interception, and it goes on his record.
I would say Brady hasn't looked great, but the defense, I disagree with you. I think the defense has done a pretty good
Really?
job.
19 points to the Cowboys that you said was going to be a blowout?
But how many possessions have the Cowboys had more than the Buccaneers?
Why? Because
Ronald
of the two
Jones
interceptions?
fumbled on the second.
You're talking about the two interceptions?
Two interceptions, and then the fumble.
Yeah, well, also it's the play calling of Mike McCarthy, which is not that good, which we all know that. And that's why Mike McCarthy is not going to have a job at the end of the season. And I know that Beef's probably standing on his toes right now because he thinks that this game could be won by the Cowboys, which very much could happen. But
I think they just got the GOAT for intentional grounding.
Well, good for the GOAT. Anyways, the GOAT needs to smell and the GOAT needs to eat, right? Anyways.
What does he smell like? Avocado?
I don't know. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, Tyler said something very intriguing, very interesting. I disagree with him comparing Tom Brady to Michael Jordan, but there is a player that just was inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame over the weekend who I think you could very much compare to Tom Brady, and that's Derek Jeter. And when we come back, we're going to get into that argument, and I'm going to explain why. If you want to compare a player of the past and now the player of the future that's going to the Hall of Fame, why I believe Tom Brady and Derek Jeter are much more closer to compare than Tom Brady and Michael Jordan here on the Sports Loudmouths.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined, Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Mr. Mothball himself, Tyler, Digital Man Harrison, and Speedy Dan Petey, Wonder Bread, Wonder Boy, whatever you want to call him, Wonder DJ. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Wednesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. You can call us at 631-672-3108. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio. Oh, I got to take this pillow under me. It's giving me backache. WorldwideSportsRadio.com. Go to iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Much better, by the way. My back feels a lot better with that pillow under me, no longer under me. Anyways, Tyler said something very interesting yesterday. I completely disagree with him on the Michael Jordan, Tom Brady comparison, saying that the GOAT, a.k.a. Tom Brady, will surpass Michael Jordan if he wins his 8th championship this year. And by the way, they intercepted the ball, so they're back in business, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's a penalty. That should have been a penalty. Was that a penalty? I don't know.
I think it was only 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. I don't think that's a penalty.
No. So, all right. So there was a player that was inducted this weekend to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and that's Derek Jeter. And Derek Jeter was very well respected. He was the face of baseball for I think he was there for 23 years. He was the face of baseball for 23 years. What do you mean?
20.
No, it was 23 years. Derek Jeter played 23 years of baseball. I'm pretty sure. Speedy, go look at the numbers.
I'm pretty sure he's right. I want to say 95.
20 years? All right, so it's 20 years. 20 years. And Tom Brady has done it for 20 years.
22.
20 years. It says it right here. 20 years. So Tom Brady and Derek Jeter have played 20 years in their respectable sports. Okay. Tom Brady, obviously, Derek Jeter won a rookie year, 5-time World Series champion, 5-time Silver Slugger. Obviously, it's a different sport, so you can't really compare and contrast these players. But, I mean, when you compare the face, now Tom Brady's been the face of football. Really, I mean, him and Peyton Manning have been the face of football for the last 20 years. So we look at both of them are very competitive. Am I right or wrong? Tom Brady is one of the most competitive players we've ever seen. And obviously, Derek Jeter, we all know his competitive nature and what he was all about. It was all about championships or busts. And I'm not a Derek Jeter fan, but that's what he was. That's the way he looked at it. It was championship or bust. You look at what Derek Jeter represented, obviously, for New York, to Tom Brady, what he represented for Boston, Massachusetts, New England. Okay? It's so a lot of people want to compare to Michael Jordan because everybody knows Michael Jordan was the GOAT in professional sports. He was everything to professional sports. He really was. You talk about, and by the way, Michael Jordan was at Derek Jeter's inductee because him and Derek Jeter are very close. Michael Jordan actually signed him to Jordan, and that's where respect came out under
Your boy
Jordan's
was
brand.
there, too.
I'm sorry, Pat Ewing.
Ewing was
Yeah,
there.
Pat Ewing was there too because he's very close with obviously Derek Jeter over the years, playing in New York. But to me, there was a lot of people there for Derek Jeter, by the way. It was all Derek Jeter. He was the only person inducted to the Hall of Fame this past year.
The Patriots got to be kicking themselves in the ass right now.
But what do you mean? Well, with Tom Brady?
You got Brady, you got Gronk, and Antonio Brown balling out right now, and you've got Mac Jones.
What's wrong with Mac Jones? We don't know who Mac Jones
No,
is.
I get it. You got to get it old at some point in time, but I'm sure this year, right now, you'd rather have these three.
And by the way, I told everybody Gronk's going to have a good year too. So, and I told everybody that. Didn't I tell you, Speedy, he was going to have a good year?
Yeah, I remember you wanted him in our draft, and I think he just went a couple picks before your pick or something.
Yeah. So I think Gronk is going to have a great year. But going back to the Tom Brady, I have acid reflux, really, really bad today, because I'm taking a lot of stuff for my my leg after having hip surgery, so it's affecting definitely my acid reflux. But looking and comparing somebody to like these, when you talk about Tom Brady, to compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan is like comparing Floyd Mayweather to Muhammad Ali. Okay, you can't compare the greatest athlete of all time to a guy that people think is the GOAT in his professional sport. That's great. Tom Brady wasn't undefeated. Tom Brady lost 3 times in the Super Bowl. Derek Jeter, how many times did he lose in baseball in a World Series? Twice. So you talk Derek Jeter, who's the face of baseball for all those years, 20 years of baseball. He missed out on winning 2 extra World Series. He could have had 7 World Series.
And how many times did the Yankees lose in the ALCS?
That's right. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about losing in the big stage. And I think it's harder to win an MLB championship than a Super Bowl. You have to only play 1 game to get to win the Super Bowl. You need to play 7 games to win an MLB championship.
Flip side of that is you have to lose 1 game in the NFL.
Yeah, but that's fine. But it's more easier to win that 1 game than winning 7 games. It's harder.
It's actually mathematically impossible for it to be harder.
It is harder.
You have a 50-50
You
shot
get
on
time.
a
First of
Sunday.
all, you play 162 games in a season. Okay,
No, I get it, but if you're talking about playoffs, you have one day. That's it. You lose, you're out. Baseball, you can lose the first 2 games and come back and win the whole thing.
And Snuggs, and I'm reading what Snuggs says. Tom Brady made it 4 more times to the championships than Jordan. Yeah, he made it 4 more times to a championship and won it and lost it 3 times. Michael Jordan never lost it ever.
Jordan also took 2 years off. So.
Yeah, he probably would have won 8 championships in a row. Honestly, he probably would have. So, and I probably would have bet on that too.
Ben says Brady for retirement home MVP. Carl says Speedy's articulate line of the night, speaking in paragraphs all about the wear and tear on position takes. So yes, all position take on wear and tear. Thanks for the insight. Can we get Sensei John Benedict in the octagon with Tyler? You responded yes. Snug says, I love that this guy is a stoner. He seems like my kind of dude, gambling, drugs, and cupcakes. Carl says, check out Baez's evade of a tag at 3rd tonight. And Mago does it again. Snug says, all hail the Brady GOAT. Carl says, old D. Snug says, the face of Yankees baseball. Carl says, I still think Giambi was safe. They let Ewing in. Must have not been an MSG.
We're talking about the home plate?
I
Giambi
would
was out.
imagine
He's an
so.
idiot. He should slide.
Snug,
You slide in that situation 100 out of 100 times. That's why he was out.
Snug says, well, that's because Gronk is like a polar bear that's been trained to wear a helmet and catch a football.
Probably true.
And so he's had more chances to win or lose.
Okay. And again, I'm not comparing more chances of winning and losing. I'm trying to compare a player to Tom Brady of his greatness. You can't compare Tom Brady to Michael Jordan. It's just physically impossible. You can't. Tom Brady is not the greatest athlete of all time because Tom Brady is not really an athlete. His game is predicated on smartness, great arm strength, and accuracy. His athletic ability, Tom Brady is not an athletic quarterback. A matter of fact, they made fun of him and what he did at the combine.
Right.
He wasn't. They compare his body to Mac Jones. That's why they compare their skills together. So I think it's completely wrong to compare Tom Brady to the greatest athlete of all time. When you think of Derek Jeter, both guys were the face of their teams. Both guys were the face of respectable sports. And both guys won more than they lost in their championship games. But I look at I'm trying to compare and contrast both players. They both played 20 years of their respectable sports. If you want to compare Tom Brady to a great athlete, one of the greatest athletes of their era, it would be Derek Jeter, not Michael Jordan. Am I right or wrong, Speedy, on this?
I agree with you. I think Michael Jordan, because he did it on both sides of the court, because he did it so consistently in that stretch, and having 2 years off and still bounce back and win three times more. I mean, that's nobody could do that. Like nobody, not even the greatest athletes. And I think the other argument with that is because
Bo Jackson is not the greatest athlete of all time. Why? Because he played two sports and he was good on those two sports for 3 years. Couldn't stay healthy.
Athletically, he's
not the greatest athlete of all time because he never played long enough to say that.
Right.
He's not.
Yeah. Now, the other end of it, too, is because you
I
played...
don't know anyone that was stronger or faster than him.
He played 3 years of respectable sports.
Right.
That's not enough
Hold
to
on.
say he's the best athlete of all time.
Name somebody that ever ran faster than him.
Usain Bolt.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill's not faster.
Oh, yes, he is.
Usain Bolt is.
Go look at what he ran in the combine and go look at what he ran a 40 in. Why are you doing that? What are you doing?
I'm calling a cricket. You're welcome.
Well, being that what I was saying though,
probably from the
being that
I know, I'm just saying.
Being that he also played the whole game too, whereas the offense in football sits when the defense is on the field and vice versa. He's playing almost every minute of that game. That probably factors into account where he's more reliable in his championships too than Tom Brady.
Now, when everybody says Dave Winfield because he was drafted by 3 different sports, yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That doesn't make him the greatest athlete of all time. Talking about in their respectable sports, Michael Jordan was the greatest athlete in all of sports for what he did in his sport. Right. That's what I mean. You want to say physical ability? Yeah, Bo Jackson's right there. Deion Sanders.
Raw traits.
Yes, Deion Sanders. You want to put him there? Yeah, okay, fine. Barry Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to put these guys? Fine, do that. That's not what I'm saying. Talking about at the top of their games and how they played in their games as a top athlete. Michael Jordan was the greatest athlete of all time. He was the greatest player in I believe, in professional sports, in any sport. That's what I'm saying. Now, it has nothing to do with Bo Jackson's ability, O.J. Simpson's ability, or anybody that we're talking about, okay?
Ben says Galarraga should get in the Hall of Fame before Jeter. Yeah, okay. Carl says Brady is a tactician, smart all over the field. It's like he went to the University of Michigan or something. Yes, that's clearly worked for the rest of their Michigan football success. Quality take, Errol. Quality take on Brady and Derek Jeter. Eric Dickerson ran fast right. And Stug says Bo could do anything on any field. He got cheated with his injury. Yes, again, I think Errol and I are saying you're judging in hypotheticals, though. We don't know how long that longevity would have been.
I'm just looking at it and listen, I'm not going to take it. Tyler has his own opinion, and that's great, but it was a crazy opinion, and you cannot compare somebody.
It's my opinion. You can't tell me that.
Well, it's your opinion, and it was a crazy opinion because you're comparing Tom Brady to Michael Jordan. There's nobody in any sport you can compare to Michael Jordan because nobody will ever be Michael Jordan. And those are facts. And I am not a Jordan fan. I grew up a Knick fan. I couldn't stand Michael Jordan. But I watched Michael Jordan at the prime of his career, at the top of his career, dominate the sport against some of the greatest athletes, greatest sports. When people are trying to compare Kevin Durant to be the best basketball player in the NBA, and people are trying to compare him to Larry Bird, it's not even close. Larry Bird at the top of his game, Kevin Durant couldn't touch him. And Larry Bird came out and said that Michael Jordan was not human. Larry Bird said that. He was not human. Magic Johnson said Michael Jordan could have beat him with one arm. Okay? That's Magic Johnson, arguably the greatest point guard to ever play the game.
Right.
Okay? So let's be honest. Michael Jordan was on a whole nother level. It's Jordan and everybody else.
Right. And Jordan didn't have a flaw in his game either. And when you're looking at an all-around skill set of a player, you want to say athletic ability for somebody like Bo Jackson, who had great speed and agility and all that.
Great athlete.
Michael Jordan, obviously, again, maybe he didn't have the raw speed in terms of if you want to critique that. He didn't have a flaw in his game. He was fast. He was strong. He was physical. I mean, there's nothing that guy couldn't do. So if you want to argue that against these top athletes too, he had no flaw, won 6 championships, was a great leader. I mean, what more does he have to do to prove himself?
I'm sorry? What did you say?
What's Brady's flow?
He's not a runner.
He's not athletic.
Throwing on the
He's
run.
not athletic. He's
Throwing
not
on the
athletic.
run.
He's not athletic.
Most quarterbacks are not athletic.
That's not true. Now the game has changed. Actually,
Baker Mayfield's athletic.
Yeah, he is. He's not athletic. How many yards did he run last year?
Lamar Jackson's athletic.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's athletic.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. Josh
Big
Allen.
Ben is not athletic.
Josh Allen. He's more athletic than you think he is.
Big Ben was
Big
Big
Ben's
Ben was
not
in his
athletic.
prime. He was.
He was.
He was.
Eli Manning wasn't.
No, Eli Manning wasn't.
Phil Rivers was not. Brett Favre was not.
Those guys were pocket present quarterbacks.
Aaron Rodgers is not.
Yes, he is. He's a mobile quarterback.
Aaron Rodgers has mobility.
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 He's the king of the mobility. He's the one who brought mobility to the game and transitioned the game. That's why everybody wants to find the next Aaron Rodgers. He is all about mobility.
Who wants to find the next Aaron Rodgers?
Everybody.
Really?
Okay.
Everybody.
Come on, man.
No, you're drafting the next Tom Brady. You're not drafting the next Aaron Rodgers.
Give me a break.
Your hate for Brady is ridiculous.
I don't hate Tom Brady. I don't. You're mistaken when I say. I already told you Tom Brady's the second greatest quarterback of all time. That's my opinion.
Why would we look for Aaron Rodgers when we could look for Tom Brady?
Because the game has changed. They don't want pocket quarterbacks anymore. They want guys that could do both things, mobile and throw the ball. And Aaron Rodgers, let's be honest, at the top of his game, he's the best at it.
They're going to look for somebody with the accuracy
There
and the
is nobody
smarts
like
of Tom Brady.
There is nobody like Tom Brady. There is none.
But all the quarterbacks now that are getting drafted.
Because quarterbacks are different now.
Right. They have some level of mobility. Not everybody has to be Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson, but even a lot of the young quarterbacks that are quote unquote considered pocket quarterbacks have some level of mobility that are drafted now. Trevor Lawrence has some level of mobility. Joe Burrow has some level of mobility. Zach Wilson. Well, Mac Jones rose a little bit later. All right. Mac Jones, maybe.
And who drafted Mac Jones?
The Patriots.
And who knows Mac Jones? The two smartest human beings on the planet.
And who's
as
that?
far as Nick Saban and Bill Belichick.
Oh, yeah, Nick Saban's
Okay.
really smart. He just gets.
What do you mean?
He gets the best recruiting class because he goes to Alabama. He runs the Alabama program.
He turned Alabama around.
Get out of here. Alabama was always on. They always got good recruits because Alabama is Alabama.
They are a powerhouse right now.
They were a powerhouse of getting recruits. Nick Saban made them the number one. Though.
Yeah, well, good for them. That doesn't make him the smartest guy. He's not the best. First of all, the best coach in football right now, in college football, is no other than Mr. Clemson over there. He is the best because if you look at what he has done in such a short time,
Didn't
Clemson.
just get not annihilated, but embarrassed on Saturday.
What do you mean?
No,
Didn't they just get
they
upset?
lost. They didn't get embarrassed. It was a close game. It was a low-scoring game.
Clemson, what's his name again? I'm sorry.
Dabo Swinney.
Dabo Swinney right now, to me, is the best coach in football, college football. That's my opinion. He doesn't. He went to Clemson. He's an Alabama guy, and he went to Clemson. He turned that program all the way around. Okay, and they beat Alabama in the national championship.
Twice.
Something that a lot of people couldn't do.
Yeah, I think him and Gus Malzahn, who just got fired from Auburn, I think the only two. Oh, and whoever coached Texas A&M when Manziel was there. I think those are the only 3 coaches that have beaten Nick Saban twice, if I remember correctly.
And Carl says that Nick Saban is an amazing leader. That's fine.
Yes,
I'm not
he
saying
is.
that.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that he isn't. I'm just saying that, to my opinion, with the best recruiting class in all, half of his team are going to the NFL. You should win more championships than you do. He should win every year. Okay. Clemson, who does have a good recruiting class, they do top 5, top 6, not the number 1 every single year.
But
they still find a way to beat him.
So
to
Saban's
me,
game plan has nothing to do with anything.
what do you mean nothing?
Which
to
is
do?
why he's got numerous guys, not drafted.
What do you say?
Numerous
Well,
guys.
yeah, they have the
that are like
crapshoot anyway with the draft
front of the
picks.
line talent.
Well, yeah, they're always going to have the high draft picks, but they're going to have their share of busts.
You're going to take your pick. He could take his pick on whoever he wants. They always have the top recruiting class. And let's be honest, Clemson isn't. They're not that team that's going to get a top recruiting class. They've never had the top recruiting class, ever. When was the last time you heard Clemson had the number one recruiting
I think
class?
5 years ago they
did.
did.
They?
Something like
I
that.
didn't
Yeah,
I don't remember.
There was 1 year they did. Either 2017, right after the national championship, or 2018. I don't remember. One of those years they did. That was the only year, though. You're right. I think either Alabama or Ohio State, and I think 1 year with Georgia, or all the top recruiting classes.
And Carl, you can argue with me. You want to believe that Saban's better than Dabo Swinney? That's your opinion. My opinion is I think the best coach in college football is no other than Dabo Swinney. And here's something that I'm going to throw a curveball at all you guys. The best coach in college football in the next 5 years is Chip Kelly. Watch what happens with UCLA.
All righty.
Watch what happens with UCLA.
They look really good against LSU.
Watch what happens.
Yeah.
Watch what happens with his offense, his style of offense going to UCLA. You watch. That UCLA program is going to completely transition and completely turn around with Chip Kelly. We're going to talk about 5 years from now, Chip Kelly being the best coach in all of college.
The Pac-12 needs something like that too. They have a bunch of like solid teams. They're just lacking powerhouses, and they always, when they do have a powerhouse that's pretty close, they always get upset. I think Washington was close 1 year. Or Washington State was close 1 year. They had Utah was close, and they lost to Justin Herbert and Oregon and in the Pac-12 championship. So they need that kind of powerhouse. So UCLA looks really good so far. They probably have the Heisman Trophy winner for 2 weeks with their running back.
Yeah, well, again, it's early, but
right, of course.
I'm looking at the big picture, and I'm looking at the way the game is played, and the transition of college football. Nick Saban is a fantastic coach. But to say, Mac Jones, first of all, look at the Nick Saban quarterbacks that have come out of the classes. They've been horrible. Horrible. Okay? His quarterback choices you could get any quarterback you want in the nation, and you pick the wrong one.
Well, yeah,
the
their system for a while was mainly let's get the top running backs, the top offensive linemen, and defense for a while, and they just went for basic quarterbacks. Right. They just went for basic quarterbacks for a while. Now they've changed even that a little bit too, where they're getting at least more athletic quarterbacks, more deep arm talent quarterbacks. And it used to be they just had these basic guys like the AJ McCarrons and those types of guys with great receivers, Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, guys like that.
I'd like to see Mac Jones succeed. I picked the kid to be very successful in the NFL. I knew he was going to win the job. I said that in the beginning. I told everybody, even Jeff telling me that I was crazy. I said, watch. Mac Jones is going to win the job, and he's going to be very good with and now all of a sudden he's believing because Bill Belichick can change anybody. Listen, Mac Jones is talented. Mac Jones wouldn't have won that job if he wasn't talented. He was teaching Cam Newton the playbook. That's what I was reading. Okay. And that's saying a lot from an MVP, AKA Super Bowl contending quarterback at one point, not too far long ago. So again, my argument here, and by the way, so he won with the wrong ones. Terrible take, Errol.
Yeah, why is it terrible? It was just a different philosophy at the time. Now their quarterbacks.
Terrible take. What are you
now their
about?
quarterbacks are going earlier in the draft.
How is it terrible? I don't understand. Speedy, do you think that was a terrible take?
I don't think it. I don't know. I think what it is Carl. You have to remember the philosophy change with the SEC. They've been more passing prominent now, and they used to be more running and defense. Now they're a little more passing prominent. Granted, they've had great receivers. Different teams have great receivers, but the quarterbacks weren't overly good.
So he says, you just read what he wrote.
You just proved my point that Saban is the best. He won with bad quarterbacks, as you stated, then switched to mobile quarterbacks.
He won with bad. He won with good quarterbacks in college, not NFL style quarterbacks. That's what you're misunderstanding. Look at the quarterbacks that have made it into the NFL and didn't succeed out of him. And look at what Clemson has done already with Dabo Swinney. He has two quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence and obviously Deshaun Watson, two quarterbacks that are going to be top-end quarterbacks in the NFL. There wasn't a bad take. It makes a lot of sense.
Well, again, the other aspect is the quarterbacks and certain players are not always there to be developed for the NFL either. Alabama, we say it all the time. They have their share of busts in addition to top NFL players. They're always going to have first-round picks because of, like Jeff says, they're going to make players look good. Same thing with Clemson. They're going to have their share of busts as well. It just happens with the way the team is. Now, where the only thing that's maybe flawed in terms of the Clemson arguments...
Hold on. He says, who the hell cares about the NFL? Because Tyler brought up, what did he just say?
He was bringing
up Mac Jones, and he was talking about quarterbacks that Saban is a genius, and who's taking over Mac Jones? The same coach that coached the two geniuses, one from college and the other one from the NFL, which I corrected it because I disagree.
All right, he's asking, is Dabo a better at developing talent or a better overall coach? I'm confused on your point, is what he's saying.
I think Dabo is better coaching talents.
Okay.
Coaching talents. I think Dabo Swinney gets the best out of his players and turns his players into NFL ready quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go look at the quarterbacks that he has brought in. They've been successful in the NFL. Go look at the quarterbacks that have come from Saban, have not been successful in the NFL. But I think Mac Jones is going to change everything because I think Mac Jones is going to be a good quarterback.
I think when you're looking at the two coaches, I don't think it's crazy for him to say that Dabo's a better coach.
Mac Jones is not a mobile quarterback.
The only thing that holds him back is probably just the competition in the ACC because they get a pretty much a
But he's a lot more mobile than people think he is. But he's not a mobile quarterback.
Right. So that's the only thing I think that would hold that argument back, where Saban in the SEC versus Swinney in the ACC. That's really the only difference. But again, talent-wise, head-to-head wise, Clemson, they've won 3 championships. Two championships, both against Alabama, and they've still been competitive in the college football playoff, except for last year against Ohio State, where they just got blown out. They were still competitive pretty much every game. That still has to say something with that too. It's close if it is. It's not. I don't think it's egregious to say that.
And he says, "Okay, I see your point for quarterbacks, but every other position, yeah, every other position, because I just told you they have the #1 recruiting class." Every year they get NFL style players, defensive, offensive line players. The only ones they don't really get is quarterback, because I think Nick Saban, the one position that he has problems, I believe, developing is the quarterback position.
Well, yeah,
except in college, because his style of game fits the college game. He likes to run the ball, throw seconds.
Right. Now, he was always just bringing in guys that were just, all right, they can manage the game. They'll throw a deep ball on occasion if Julio Jones or Amari Cooper or somebody like that is open.
Saban is not better.
Now he's actually doing it a little more with bringing in top recruits. Bryce Young, who's their starting quarterback, who's already made $1 million with the new NIL rules, was a 5-star recruit, was a #1 quarterback recruit. And
look at what Gabe Stevenson did today.
In terms of even Tua and Jalen Hurts, they were, I don't remember where they were as recruits, but they were a little higher than obviously the basic quarterbacks they had in the past.
It's my opinion, Carl. You don't have to agree with it. If you think it's a horrible take, that's fine. That's your opinion. My opinion is that I think Nick Saban, what is the most important position in professional sports?
In professional sports,
what is the most important position? Everybody says in professional
coaching,
goalie
and quarterback.
Position,
coaching and quarterback.
The quarterback position. And what is Nick Saban bad at bringing into the NFL?
Quarterback.
The quarterback. So how could you say that Nick Saban's a better coach if he can't coach the most important position to be successful going into the NFL? That's my opinion.
He says part of it was a bad take. Now you make good points.
That's all I'm saying. Listen, that's not all. Listen, I don't expect to be right all the time. It's just my opinion. And my opinions vary to what people think, and your opinions vary to what you think. I love you, Carl, and you make some good points. And I know you try to get me, you try to throw a curveball at me to get me to prove that I'm wrong. But I'm going to argue my points through and through. And by the way, going back to my Michael Jordan, Tom Brady comparison, it's not close. If anything, it's Tom Brady and Derek Jeter.
That's incredibly disrespectful.
No, it's not. Why?
To who?
To Tom Brady.
I was going to say, because you like both of them. I'm just curious who's disrespectful.
Oh, Chris Godwin just dropped the touchdown.
How could you say that?
Because I just watched him do it.
No, I'm talking about how am I disrespecting Tom Brady?
I mean this with all due respect to the great Derek Jeter. Tom Brady passed Derek Jeter years ago.
Yeah, how do you figure?
What does Derek Jeter lead in Major League Baseball in? Anything?
What do you mean?
What does he lead in? Hits, runs, steals.
Football's different
average.
from baseball.
But what stat does he lead in?
It's first of all, football's been around. Football's been around for how long?
Almost 100 years.
No, I'm talking about the NFL with the Super Bowls. Okay.
Oh, the Super Bowl since '67.
All right. So how many years is that?
That's
how many Super Bowls would it be? 56.
Well, this is the 56. Yes.
How long has the World Series been around?
Since 1903.
Okay. So
that's not
baseball. Baseball. I'm going to make my point with you because I'm saying that you're wrong. Being that baseball has been around longer, and they're some of the greatest athletes, some of the greatest players of all time: Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, all that other stuff. Go there. Tom Brady. Okay. Now the game has completely changed. It's become an offensive league from the defensive side of the game in the 80s and the 90s. It's completely different. And if Joe Montana played in these times, his numbers would be outlandishly crazy. Outlandishly crazy, especially in, the 49ers West Coast offense, which is everybody's offense now.
Yeah.
Sean McVay, Shanahan, everybody runs his West Coast offense, right or wrong?
Fine.
Right or wrong? Okay. So getting back to my point, Tom Brady, now the game has completely changed to an offensive style of game. When Derek Jeter played, what was the game like in baseball?
Steroids.
Did he do
He played
steroids?
before the steroid era.
Did he
too.
do steroids?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
96 is his rookie year.
Did he do steroids?
What are you talking about?
Did he do steroids?
No, he didn't. But you're telling me that the game has changed. No, it was
The game
97.
has changed. Baseball
The
has
ga-
changed.
The game was juiced. The ball was juiced. The pitches were juiced.
The balls were not
does Derek-
juiced. The balls were not juiced when Derek Jeter played. They were not.
Okay, so Bud Selig coming out and saying that the balls were juiced was what?
Bud Selig did not say the balls were juiced when
Look
Derek
up.
Jeter played. Go look it up. I'm not looking up anything. I've never heard that before. Bud Selig never said that when the Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter played for 20 years.
I know. I just said
the
that.
steroid era was a huge part of it. No? Yes? Hello?
But Derek Jeter wasn't really a home run hitter, though.
It doesn't matter. And Tom Brady's not mobile. So what? So there's flaws there, right? Back to this Jordan thing. Okay?
Right, but I don't think anyone's
Derek
saying
Jeter
Derek
was not a
Jeter's-
great athlete either.
I don't think anyone's saying Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter was for a shortstop.
Derek Jeter wasn't a great athlete.
For a shortstop?
Derek Jeter wasn't a great athlete.
He wasn't even the best shortstop on his own team.
That's fine. You're saying Derek Jeter wasn't a great athlete?
Not for the position he played, no.
Okay.
He's the greatest overachiever of
right.
all time.
358 stolen bases, 1,311 RBIs.
Yes.
Runs, 1923. How many players done that? Batting average as
I
a
don't know.
right-hander, as a righty. How many right-handers retire with a 310 batting average? 260 home runs. He wasn't a power hitter.
No.
3,465 hits. How many players had more hits than him? One.
7.
1.
A Yankee.
1. Pete Rose is the only
He's
player.
not second all time, Errol.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Speedy.
No, he's
No,
not.
Ichiro would be second.
No, he's
not
not
second all time.
No, he's not. Ichiro
He's
didn't
like
hit more hits.
7th or 6th.
No, he's not. No,
Yes,
he's
he
not.
is.
Go look at the batting and go look at. I'm pretty sure
He is not top 2 in any offensive stat in Major League Baseball.
I'm
Tom Brady is top 2 in every quarterback stat
He's
you can
played
name.
long enough, and the game has changed.
So did Derek Jeter.
The game is. It's completely different. Derek Jeter is not that type of player. And
Did he get a hit?
Oh my God! You're
He is sixth. So it goes Pete Rose, Ty Cobb, Hank Aaron, Stan Musial, Trish Speaker, and then Derek Jeter.
Thank you.
Okay.
I knew he was
okay.
top 6.
Top
So-
6. Derek Jeter, besides Pete Rose, is the first player in 30 years to even come close to Pete Rose. 30 years with all the great players, Barry Bonds, all those players.
Almost 1,000 hits away. What do you mean close?
What do you mean close?
1,000 hits.
Speedy,
That's
tell
10
me-
seasons.
Ty Cobb, when did he play?
That ball era, 1900s.
Okay,
yeah.
well, the next guy, what was
Hank
it?
Aaron was a long time. He played like 25 years.
Okay, 25 years ago in the 70s, he retired, right?
Yeah.
Okay, who else?
Stan Musial, who played in the 40s, 50s, split between the
Okay,
two world wars.
and the next year, next
Trish
year.
Speaker, I believe, was a dead ball guy too.
Okay,
with Cobb.
so you got all these players that played in this time with Derek Jeter. There were so many great players, Ken Griffey Jr., all these guys that everybody
Injuries.
mentions. He would have never come close. He
Injuries.
would have never come close. He would have never
He's
hit
the greatest all-around
3,000.
player I ever saw.
Well, no, he's not. Alex Rodriguez was.
Well,
and Barry Bonds too.
He would be second.
Barry Bonds too was. So
Well, I didn't see that Bonds. I saw the steroid Bonds.
400 and 400. Barry Bonds was the best, the greatest
That's
all-around
fine.
player I've seen.
I didn't see that. I saw Griffey and I saw A-Rod.
Well,
and they're 1 and 2.
That's great. That's great. To me, when you look at Michael Jordan and you look at guys like Tom Brady and Derek Jeter, Derek Jeter and Tom Brady don't even come close to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the only player in basketball to win. And I said this to you yesterday. He won an MVP, regular MVPs in the regular season, defensive player of the year in regular season, won MVP of the in the playoffs, won a championship, and was number 1 defense. He was in every single category. He did it, and no player has done it once. Michael Jordan did it 4 times. Okay? Nobody even comes close. Tom Brady doesn't even come close. Tom Brady didn't even win. How many MVPs has he won in 20 years? 3? 3 regular season MVPs.
It's very hard to win an MVP in the NFL, Earl. You have so
really?
many different positions.
Speaking of Tom Brady, we got our Patriots fan on the phone.
Who's that?
Jeff.
What's up, Jeff?
It's so wild that I have to like go out to have some dinner, have a couple of drinks, right? And the second I tune in, I hear the dumbest shit I have ever heard in my life.
What's so dumb about it?
You think that Dabo Swinney is a better coach than
I didn't say that.
Nick Saban?
I didn't say that. You didn't hear what I said.
I think he was saying better player developer.
Better player
Dabo
developer.
Swinney isn't even the best coach on his staff. How's that?
That's great. That's your opinion. Dabo Swinney he has 2 quarterbacks that are going to go into the NFL that are going to be elite quarterbacks. How many elite quarterbacks has Mr. Saban coached that are elite NFL players?
Before listen, I think that you're skewing the argument here right now too, right? Because okay, he's put one elite quarterback in the league, and then I think it's fair to say the jury is still out on Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones, just like the jury is still going to be out on Trevor Lawrence. Too early to call that, correct?
Probably, yes. But we pretty much figured that Trevor Lawrence.
So it's 1-0, right? It's 1-0. That's what it is.
Fine, if that's what you want to say. But you know damn well that's not going to be 1-0. It's going to be 2-0.
What? So 2-1? If Mac Jones pans out, 2-1?
Oh, come on, Mac Jones. You were about to jump off a ledge when Mac Jones was drafted by the Patriots.
I wasn't in favor of it at the time, but I told you when he got drafted, if there's a coach in the league that is going to put him in position, dude, he made Matt Castle an 11-5
we talk about this all the time. We talk about this all the time. And I think Belichick puts his quarterbacks in very good position. But that doesn't mean Mac Jones is going to be put in position to succeed.
It's 1-0. We don't know if Tua is going to be good or not. What if Tua is good?
Oh, give me a break. We know what Tua is.
Then it's
garbage.
The same.
We know he's garbage, dude.
Then it's the same, dude.
We know
and Nick Saban is not
He always has we would talk about it all the time. He always has the #1 recruiting class. Do we not talk about that? I mean, if you have the #1 recruiting class.
Right, but you know who always has the #2 recruiting class? Clemson.
Really?
All right, so Bryce Young was the #1 quarterback coming out of high school 2 years ago. Do you know who #2 was?
Who?
DJ Ugalele. Where did he go?
He went to the Clemson Tigers.
Right. So they get just as many guys, right? We could go back
to
quarterbacks.
They get quarterbacks.
I mean, they've had 2. They've had 2 quarterbacks, and we don't. And Ugalele, by the way. Not to toot my own horn, but toot because Georgia they stuffed Clemson in a mayonnaise jar the other night.
Oh yeah.
By the way, we could be right about this Tampa Bay and Cowboy game. By the way, so
I mean, what did I tell you from the beginning?
You did.
I said if they're going to have a chance,
I
week
mentioned
1 because Brady starts slow.
You got to listen to the show because I said you watched. Me and Jeff were talking about it, and Jeff was the first person to say I wouldn't be surprised if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose.
Right, and before the end of the year, I'm going to have you all on the Georgia Bulldogs bandwagon, and I called it 2 months ago.
You really like Georgia, huh?
Dude, they were missing a ton of pieces on offense because I realized their offense didn't look great, but they totally contained Clemson's offense, and were even scoring points on defense. Name a more impressive performance than what Georgia did, because I could make the case to you while Alabama looked much better than I thought that they were.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
They also played Miami in the ACC. How many games did an ACC team win this last weekend?
None. And I don't watch. And I don't.
By the way, the only ACC team that won this last weekend is because they played an ACC team. Virginia Tech beating North Carolina,
who was number 10. Now they're
right.
Are they even ranked anymore?
Every other ACC school lost, including Duke, who got stuffed in a locker by Charlotte.
No, and again, when Carl was, arguing with me on the take over there, listen, it's not the take that I say that Saban isn't an all-around better coach than Dabo Swinney. In my eyes, player development, I think Dabo Swinney's a better coach. That's just my opinion.
It's not even close. It's Nick Saban by a mile, right? He's got Swinney's got Brett Venables on his staff, and they keep paying him more and more absurd money to stay with Clemson, right? Nick Saban don't give 2 shits. Brian Daboll, leave. Sarkisian, leave. Lane Kiffin, leave. Freaking dude, he's had more coaches than I can remember, and Nick Saban is.
He also has the #1 recruiting class every year.
So Clemson always has a top recruiting class as well.
Not number
It's a
one. Not when you can take your
dude.
pick.
I mean, come on. Honestly,
come on. We talk about this all the time, Jeff. Now all of a sudden you're going back on what you say. You talk about
they always have a number one recruiting class. But again, why would that be? Would that be because Nick Saban doesn't know what he's doing, or do you think these players coming up want to get into the NFL? Who does that more than anybody? Who does that more than anybody? By the way, Nick Saban 2 days ago had the cockiest brag on the planet. He was like, he saw all those Miami players on the sidelines. He's like, yeah, I was going to call all of our guys. He's like, but we don't have enough room on the sidelines for all of them.
Wow, good for him. I mean,
he's put more people in the NFL than anybody else.
Carl says, okay, I see your points, but every other quarterback for quarterbacks, but every other position has to go to Saban with that take as well.
And I agree.
So Saban has coached up more overall talent. So again, Saban is better.
That doesn't mean he's better. That's not. I'm sorry.
Besides Deshaun Watson, and you're making the quarterback argument. Besides Deshaun Watson, who's he put in the league that's been any good?
DeAndre Hopkins.
I was just about to say that.
Two. Okay.
Two? What?
Wait, hold on. We're mentioning wide receivers, then Julio Jones and Amari Cooper alone are two.
Well, but I agree with Jeff. Tyler, that's my exact point is, okay, it's 1-0 in the quarterback race, but you can name, I don't know, 5-6 guys that are really excelling
when
in
you
the
have
NFL.
the number one recruiting class every year. I mean, you're going to hit on a lot of them, but you're also going to fail.
Clemson
We've
has
seen
the
them
number
fail
2
too.
recruiting class every year, too. And he shouldn't be as far
Oh,
behind
they
in
don't.
putting people
Where were
in
they
the
ranked
NFL.
this year? Where were they ranked this year in the recruiting class? Were they?
2.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
And the year before that, were they 2?
Yeah, they're either 2 or 3 like every year.
Yeah, I think one year they were 3 because Georgia was 2.
By the way, the team that jumped them was Georgia, and they don't seem to be putting a ton of guys in the league either. By the way,
Carl says part of it was a bad take. You make good points. Tyler, tell us our heads are up our asses. John Shire getting quality recruits. Haha, did I get Errol stewing over this on this one, Speedy?
John Shire.
Brady deflated balls, so juice balls are not. What is your point, Tyler? Snug says Jeter came up in 96, the summer of 98 with McGuire and Sosa, juice balls.
Really, the argument, and by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, Speedy. The argument was Tyler last night, Jeff, he mentioned that Tom Brady, if he wins his 8th championship, he's going to go down as the greatest of all time in all of sports.
I mean, he already is. So
of all sports. And I said,
he already is.
No,
so
he's
it's
not.
pointless.
He's not better than Michael Jordan. He's not. He definitely isn't. Michael Jordan never lost.
Much harder to win a championship in football than it is in basketball.
Really, you got to play.
Harder.
You got to play 7 games, and Michael Jordan did it in a time with. Look at the players he had to beat. Look at the teams. Look at the super teams he had to beat. And when you have Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and all those players saying that he's the greatest athlete, he's the greatest player, Magic Johnson said you could tie an arm behind Michael Jordan and he'd still beat me one-on-one.
Look at all the super teams Brady had to beat.
Oh, come on, Jeff. Listen, you're a Patriot fan, so of course you're going to say Tom Brady.
No, I'm a Patriot fan, so I can rebut your dumb argument. Right?
It's not a dumb argument.
There's a reason why.
It was a dumb argument comparing Tom Brady to Michael Jordan.
Who did Brady win his first championship against?
Who?
The greatest show on turf.
The Rams, that's right.
What did they call him, Tyler?
Spygate. Spygate.
Kurt Warner.
Spygate.
Torrey Holt.
Cheating.
Isaac Bruce.
Cheating.
Marshall Falk.
Cheating.
All Hall of Famers.
Cheating.
That's 4 Hall of Famers as a rookie.
See, do you see what you're
Cheating.
You keep yelling that over and over
It
again.
is.
But
It's
again,
true.
they weren't.
What
they
happened to
didn't cheat
tapes?
in that game.
What happened to the tapes? What happened to the tapes?
Go talk to Roger.
Go
talk to Roger.
Go, Roger. Yeah, go talk to Roger. Maybe because he was great friends with Bill Belichick, and he did. I mean, great friends
we're
with.
We're both wrong because wouldn't that be Paul Tagliabue?
Yeah, get out of here. It was Goodell, and Goodell was the one that destroyed the tapes.
You will honestly.
Goodell was not commissioner
to diminish
in 2000.
To diminish him beating the greatest show on turf. You'll do anything to diminish that.
No, they cheated. They cheated.
At every turn, you're going to make an excuse.
They cheated. Jeff, you don't say, I don't want to hear your crap. You know they cheated. They cheated.
Were they penalized?
Penalized? They won a Super Bowl. I would be penalized too. What do you mean they were penalized? They were. They were.
And by the way, every time people yell cheating, here's the other thing. They yell cheating all the time. Oh, they cheated. Dude, Brady went into a court and won in a court about cheating. And you will still yell about it.
This has nothing to do with Spygate. Nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with
it.
That's actually not even what I was talking about, but that shows how much you know.
What are you talking about? You're bringing up this stupid deflating ball. I know what you're talking about, and that has nothing to do with Spygate. And I do know what I'm talking about. They cheated when they won that Super Bowl.
But this is the thing, though. You're going to yell cheating at everything, right? That's all you're. That's
no, not. You brought up a game that they cheated on. That's my opinion, and that's a fact too.
Oh, it's a fact.
It is. They destroyed the tapes, did they not?
Yeah. No, they destroyed the Rams, is what they did.
No, they destroyed the Rams because they knew every single play because they cheated. That's what they did.
They knew every single play.
They knew every single play. Go look at that game. Go watch that game. And the Rams.
Oh my God.
That game.
Who fumbles on the goal line like that?
Godwin. That's Chris Godwin. That's what I'm going to say. And
dude, he also dropped that touchdown pass, the alligator around that touchdown pass that Brady delightfully threw into him. Jesus.
Let me ask you a question because I don't know if you were listening to the whole vaccine thing, and I know you have your own opinions towards the vaccine, not the political thing, but the NFL. Do you agree what the NFL is doing? I know you're going to say yes, but I want people to know why you think the NFL is right to suspend players 4 games with no money, and then if they come back and they still don't take the vaccine, if they come down with COVID, that their team can forfeit that game.
Here's what the whiny crybabies need to learn. And they need to come to grips with this. You have to be vaccinated. First of all, the NFL is a private entity. They can do what they want. Private businesses can do what they want. Cry about it all you want. They can, right? So there's vaccine mandates to go to school. Like when you were a kid, you had to have a measles vaccine. You had to have a mumps vaccine. You had to have like smallpox. You had to have all of that sort of stuff. It's for the greater good. You are actually a worthless cunt if you're not for the greater good. It's FDA approved. It's safe. First of all, no one's been dying from the vaccine from the beginning. There's a whole bunch of misinformation out there about it, right? No one's died from. You know what people are dying from? COVID. That's what they're dying from.
Right. Vaccinated or non-vaccinated.
Dude, your chances greatly increase of surviving. Like you can probably still get sick. Yeah, that's fine. Your chances of survival greatly, vastly increase. The people that are dying are part of the stupids in this country.
Carl says, why does Georgia always blow it? I want to believe, but they always blow it. And
dude, trust me, man. That's my struggle the whole time with Georgia. Like when I was talking with Errol 2 months ago about picking Georgia, I was like, I'm picking Georgia.
Yep.
That was my first comment was, dude, they always choke, but I just got a feeling this year. I like Georgia.
I had them as I think my third of the 4 playoff.
No,
teams.
you had Jeff had Georgia.
Jeff had Georgia. You
all
had
the way through.
Georgia number 1 overall.
Yeah. He had Georgia winning national championship.
Oh, nice. Snug says, what's the difference between a number 1 and number 2 recruiting class? A couple of players, maybe. Yeah, if they play that defense the way they played against Clemson, that's massive.
You know what, dude, I'm on the Nick Saban train, and that's not true either. Alabama probably gets 10, 15, 16 more players than Clemson will. It's that lopsided. Alabama really does get more talent than Clemson. But Clemson gets vastly more talent than everybody else too, though.
Well, my thoughts with this, and I want to go into this, and I know you hate Ben Simmons. We've talked about this many times.
Ben Simmons shouldn't even be allowed to have hands to shoot a basketball. He should be amputated.
What do you think
he should
about?
Just play defense with 2 nubs.
What do you think about Ben Simmons going to Toronto? Toronto is they're saying that this deal could be closed by as early as Friday, tomorrow, in the next 24 hours. Ben Simmons goes to Toronto. Are they a contender?
Man, I want to say yes, but probably no. Like, what's going back? Like, if Pascal Siakam is going back, that's a terrible team.
No, it's not Siakam. It's not Siakam.
Well, who's going back?
Yeah, who else is worth it?
They're talking about draft picks, and here I'll bring it up.
And you're taking the whole salary. If I'm not getting a good player back,
who's going back is equally as important,
right?
Right,
because
you're
it's got to
adding
match.
Ben Simmons, if you're losing, like, you know, if you lose Van Vliet, whatever that guy's name is, and Siakam, are you a better team? No.
Toronto Raptors, Ben Simmons.
Well, you look up that. Carl says Georgia is crazy. It is like they never get past number 5. They did the year against Tua, but that's been it. And then CeeDee Lamb is going to drop a meaningful pass here. Yeah, and then the Beeve will call up and say, "See, I told you about CeeDee Lamb. He stinks." That's what he'll say.
It would be
dude, Dallas is going to win this game. There's under 3 minutes left. And they have the ball.
No, they're going to get into field goal range, and Greg Zuerlein will miss again. That's what's going to happen.
No, dude. This will be the make. They're going to beat Tampa tonight.
Do you have any bets in this one, Jeff?
Yeah, but I already lost, so it doesn't matter. Because I had them in the parlay, and I also took Tampa given the 9 points. So I'm already porked, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking at the Simmons thing. There's just so many. There's a third team involved. I
think that's what he's saying to make the money work because Toronto doesn't have.
I don't know the whole exact thing, but they're saying that there's another team involved.
Siakam's going to have to be traded.
No, Siakam is not a part of the trade.
If they get a third team involved, there's no guarantee he gets traded.
No, I don't think
so. But what does the third team have to do? What's it going to be? Oklahoma City, and they're going to absorb another contract for no reason?
Or picks.
Someone else.
They can, but they got to make the money work. Yeah. Draft picks are only worth so much, and Ben Simmons is getting
a lot of money,
$5 billion a year or something.
A lot of money, and Jeff is right about Ben Simmons. For a guy that's making $35 million and in 5 years,
you should have more than one career 3-pointer.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
He's right about that because and that's why it's so hard for them to trade Ben Simmons and get a lot back for Ben Simmons, even though Ben Simmons is a very talented player. And being that he's so young, he's still, if he goes to the right team, I believe that you can find a way to teach this kid how to hit at least 23, 25% behind the 3-point line where he could be half decent over there. And free throws, that's horrible for a guy his size.
Oh, God. He's terrible. He's terrible. For a point guard, imagine a point guard missing that many free throws.
6'10" with all the ability in the world, he can't hit a foul shot. It's ridiculous.
He's terrible.
It is ridiculous.
Terrible. And it's not because his coach doesn't believe in him. Doc Rivers left him in too long. I think that would be the knock on Doc Rivers at this point, right? People were wondering why you left him in there. But then again, how do you take out a guy making $35 million?
Not only that, the Sixers don't really have much depth to compensate for that either. So you could also blame that on the front office with all the bad trades and all the stuff they made.
That is what it is. But can you imagine benching a guy that has a max contract? Why do you have a max contract if you're going to be on the bench?
That's fair. Also, the front office still giving that money doesn't help either. Carl says Ben Simmons or Zach LaVine.
Ben Simmons or who?
Or Zach LaVine all day. Zach LaVine all day.
Zach LaVine is
Zach LaVine all day.
He's turned into a special player. Zach LaVine is a special player. That's the guy that last year when they were talking about Zach LaVine getting traded, that's the guy I wanted the Knicks to get. But the Knicks don't have anybody that they could trade for him. Maybe RJ Barrett and a couple other players. Maybe that would
but RJ Barrett's potential is probably up to what Zach LaVine is and beyond.
Absolutely.
So,
And Zach LaVine is getting aging now. I think he's like
30. Zach LaVine can shoot. Maybe he can't play defense up to Ben Simmons' level.
Zach LaVine is young.
I think Zach LaVine's old.
Yeah, because he came up pretty young. I think I would say he's 27, 28 if I were to guess. But I think Barrett's potential, he's going to surpass LaVine
27.
if he develops into what he should. And they're very similar types of players.
Maybe LaVine can't defend as good as Ben Simmons or as many positions, and that's a point willingly conceded.
Yes.
Dude, go ahead and go look up how many three-pointers Zach LaVine's made in his career.
I'm sure
I can guarantee you it's like 500 more than Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I'm sure Ben Simmons has made his career total in 2 games.
Zach LaVine's last season is better than Ben Simmons' whole career. I don't even understand why you got to bring up Zach LaVine's whole career for.
Well, because Ben Simmons is also, he's been an all-star, practically since he's come into the league. Zach LaVine has been an all-star once. That's why
he's really only emerged as an overall player the last 2 years. He was mainly just popular with the dunk contests and all that before
Simmons
that. But the last 2 years,
LeBron James that cannot shoot.
His breakouts.
He's not LeBron James. He'll never be LeBron James.
He's LeBron James who cannot shoot.
He's not LeBron James.
He's a facilitator like LeBron James.
How long has Ben Simmons been in the league? 4 years?
2016 was his rookie year, so this would be his 5th year.
And he's a 3-time All-Star.
This will be his 6th year.
Yeah, so he's a 3-time All-Star.
Right, 6 year.
He's a 3-time All-Star in 6 years. So, that's saying a lot. And by the way, his career numbers are, he's an all-around good offensive player. I just can't shoot. 14 points, almost 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. I mean, those are good numbers for a good, but for the money that he's making, he should be making that money.
Ben Simmons is 5 for 34 in career 3-pointers.
That's
so yes,
horrible.
Zach LaVine has surpassed that in one game.
That's horrible.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a guy making a max contract that shouldn't have hands or be allowed to shoot.
He's a career 59% free throw shooter, and his career high in free throw percentage is 62.1.
You can block shots with a nub. You don't need a hand. Block it with the nub.
Where do you think Ben Simmons goes? Because the Raptors are reportedly the team that is going to go. To Speedy, where do you think he goes first? Tyler, then you, Jeff. Because I still think it's Golden State. They have the best options and the money.
You know what Dale Morey wants for him?
I do.
State, yeah, Golden
It'll be
State's.
3 teams involved. It's not just
You're
one
not
team.
getting Steph or Clay. You're crazy.
They're not getting any of those guys. But
That's what he wants.
But he's not. That's not going to happen. But I think they're going to eventually bite the bullet, and I think that the Golden State can give them more with a third team involved with it. You know, De'Aaron Fox wants out of Sacramento. I mean, I think Sacramento would be a great team to kind of get involved with.
They were the team I was just going to say because Vlade Divac is dumb where he might make that trade. I think De'Aaron Fox is better
I don't know
too.
where he's going to go, but I'll tell you where he should go.
Where?
Denver.
Really? Why is that?
Denver has assets that they can give up because they have too many shooters already. Like they have, Dallas is just going to run away with this. I called this so long ago. So funny.
They're the Cowboys. They'll find a way to lose the game.
That's what I said.
No, they won't.
That's what I said. They're going to get into field goal range, and Greg Zuerlein will miss again.
They can give up $1 trillion first-round draft picks that they don't need because they're already a good team. They're already drafting late in the first round, and they can also throw in like Michael Porter or another good player like that.
Well, why would you trade Michael Porter for a guy that's Michael Porter and more money?
Because they already have too many shooters. They have a shit ton of shooters on that team, and no one that plays defense. And Ben Simmons, that team needs defense more than they need another shooter.
Ben says Blazers get Barnes, Jones, Mitchell. 76ers get McCollum. 2022 Sacramento first. 2024 Portland first, and the Kings get Ben Simmons.
So what? Hold on. The Blazers get Barnes, Jones, and Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell, they just drafted. The 76ers get CJ McCollum and 2 first-round picks. And
That's
the
pretty
Kings
good.
get
That's a pretty good deal.
Simmons.
That's not a bad
So
deal.
the Blazers get to rebuild a little bit. They'll probably trade Lillard after that anyway.
Ben Simmons goes to the Kings with De'Aaron Fox. What do you guys think of that?
They don't work.
Kings don't have enough to give up.
They don't work.
Why don't they work? You got a big.
You
got a
need
big
Ben
guy?
Simmons next to somebody that can shoot. You need Ben Simmons to
De'Aaron
have
Fox
shooters.
could shoot.
One guy?
No, but
he needs to go to a team with shooters.
You're making my case for Denver, by the way.
No,
They only have shooters.
Why I don't like Denver is a team that can win now. They don't need to trade anybody. Jamal Murray, Gary Harris.
Buddy Hield's not a good shooter.
Buddy Hield's probably going to be traded.
Not really. He's still on the team.
Buddy Hield's going to be part of that trade. If you're the Blazers, you're not taking Harrison Barnes over Buddy Hield. No way in hell.
It's all about the contract. That's why they're doing it. That the contracts have to make sense. Jeff was saying,
McCollum's got good money.
But you literally just made my case for Denver because they need defense. They need to find a way to slow down the Lakers or Utah.
I agree with you, Jeff. I mean, Denver makes sense. But is Denver willing to give up optional players to make
That's
that
what
work?
I'm saying. My team is deep. We're good. We're young. I don't know why I'm making that trade.
Because they can't get over the hump. They couldn't do it the last
Jamal Murray got hurt last year. Wow, they couldn't get over the hump.
They still got swept, though.
I think that even with Murray there, I still think they're missing something.
If they lose in 6 games,
you get Ben Simmons with Murray, and
and by the way, he's got super underrated rebounding ability.
Oh yeah,
he's super underrated. He can rebound and play defense, and that's what Denver needs.
Granted, got all that. I don't know if I'm giving up what Philly's going to want back.
The only thing that concerns me with that kind of scenario is because they're in the playoffs so much. If another team adopts what Atlanta did and starts hacking him, that might diminish the value of the other players. Where the Sixers have other talent, like Denver does too. I think the Nuggets have more talent, but the Sixers have the stars too that didn't get to thrive as much as a team because they kept hacking Simmons. And
Don't
would
the
a playoff
Sixers also
team
have
want that too?
Don't the Sixers also have Bol wandering around on their bench too?
Yes, they do.
No, isn't that Denver?
No, he's
now?
on Denver.
I thought he was on Denver.
He's on Denver.
Yeah.
He's on Denver.
You want to talk about a team that could use him? Utah makes more sense to me because then you can give up Mike Conley for Simmons. Ben Simmons is younger, a better defender than Mike Conley is.
I don't know about
not
that.
by much.
And then no, not by much, but the youth plays.
Oh,
a huge
absolutely.
Role.
And Ben Simmons.
Do you think the gap between Mike Conley's defense and Ben Simmons' defense is greater or less than the shooting ability between Mike Conley and Ben Simmons?
Less than. But here's the X factor for me. I know Ben Simmons can play 50 to 60 games a year. I don't know if Mike Conley's playing 50, 60 games a year.
That's true too. I mean,
he doesn't need to though.
Yeah.
No, Mike Conley needs to play a lot of. And Mike Conley doesn't get hurt in the beginning of the year and come back for the playoffs. He gets hurt mid-season and then misses the playoffs. So I'm not sold on Mike Conley being the point guard for a round. Who knows? Maybe even gets a couple of points. Utah, and you're not going to give up crazy amount. I mean, Joe Ingles is being rumored to be traded anyway, so it makes a ton of sense for me. And if you're Philly, you get Joe Ingles. He's a scorer too. So I don't know. I would say Utah.
Denver makes a lot of sense.
No, it does. If I'm Denver, I'm not giving up anything for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons to me isn't going to get them over the hump.
But you got guys that aren't even going to play like Bol that would be worth something.
Yeah, Bol's been bumping around in their, I think they're a G League team.
And by the way, when he comes in the game, he lights it up too, by the way. Like Denver is literally so deep. They don't have room on the court for it.
But then even with the deep team that they have, they're still missing something. Ben Simmons can maybe take them to that next level.
Yeah, they're missing defense.
Yep. If they get Ben
that's
Simmons.
That's why every one of their games is 134 to 133.
That's interesting. I never even thought of that. Denver would be a great fit. Yeah, that's right, Jeff. I would agree because you talk about the Lakers and what the Lakers have done this offseason, and some of these powerhouse teams have really elevated themselves. If Denver, Murray coming back, and you add Ben Simmons, you're contending. You're absolutely contending. So
pair Ben Simmons with that stupid European idiot with the Joker.
Yeah,
I thought you liked him.
Dude, I do like him, but he literally is like the most Ivan Drago of the Ivan Dragos I've ever seen.
And didn't they just trade for Aaron Gordon? They just traded for Aaron
They
Gordon.
did,
So
yes.
now I'm definitely out. I forgot they had Aaron Gordon. I'm definitely out.
Stark says the Beeve has got his pants around his ankles, ready to celebrate.
Are they really going to put Greg
Dak
Zuerlein out
Prescott
there?
post-game
They got
press
no choice.
conference?
And there's
Hashtag
way
ban the
too much
Beeve.
time for Tom Brady.
Yeah, they're going to win. Tom Brady's going to win this game.
47 yards for the lead. Yeah, Carl, you might need to make up for all the fantasy points.
Zuerlein
you've
will miss
lost.
this.
If Greg
That's what I
Zuerlein
said
misses
earlier.
this, he's not
That's what I
going back
just
to
said.
Dallas.
He's missing this.
He's going to take
He's
a
not
flight
gonna,
home.
dude. He's not missing this. He missed too many earlier. He's not missing.
Oh, he's missing this.
48.
And you know what's crazy? He was the best
yards.
kicker in football for a long period. Well, not a long period.
Yeah,
a few years.
He was good.
A couple years, then Justin Tucker took that title.
Well,
I mean, there's something about when you put on that rating on your head, right?
Yeah.
That one
that's
star
right
rating.
down the middle.
Nope, Jeff's right. Looks like he got it.
Told you.
Now, here's the problem that the Cowboys have. Tom Brady has about 90 seconds to get the ball 47 yards.
But one timeout, so.
I hear you, but have you seen what's going on tonight? Godwin alligator on that catch would have been a touchdown. He also fumbled one going into the end zone.
Well, Leonard Fournette gave up an interception.
Dude, he hit him right in the hands and gave up an interception. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, hit him right in the hands. Like,
Right.
dude, he's getting no support from the rest of his team. This is what happens on opening nights.
And you want to know something? Tyler, you came out and said that this was going to be a complete blowout. This is so close. This is going to come
The
down
game
to the
shouldn't
wire.
be close.
Why not?
Because the Cowboys are playing
Cowboys
a
are
really
great.
good football game, and the Buccaneers have shit the bed all night long.
Well, but
The defense has done an
expected this.
amazing job.
What defense?
The Buccaneers defense.
I beg to differ.
You beg to differ.
I beg
They've
to
been on the
differ.
field for like
I mean,
a half hour
honestly-
longer than the Cowboys defense.
I mean, honestly, like, I love to shit on the Cowboys. Name someone that likes to shit on the Cowboys more than me. I'll wait, right?
Exactly.
No,
We
dude,
know.
Dak Prescott's been impressive
This
tonight.
game,
He has. I'm not saying he hasn't.
And this game,
Cowboys
could be,
played
this-
well. I just said.
if Zuerlein actually hit every field goal, this game would have been over. This game would have been over. So
Well, Chris Godwin doesn't fumble a touchdown, drop a touchdown. Fournette doesn't drop a pass.
Field goals going 30 yards and 35 yards, missing 3 field goals.
It's 9 points. I named 3 touchdowns.
That's dropping the ball is dropping the ball. That has nothing to do with a field goal kick.
I understand.
Field goal kicks are almost.
You named
guaranteed.
9 points. I named 14.
They're
down by 1.
Mathematically,
you're still losing.
Field goal kicks are supposed to be guaranteed.
Carl says he also missed a PAT.
Mm-hmm.
He's still mathematically losing.
The fact is that and I want to.
I mean, the Bucks should be way ahead, right? Godwin should have been into that touchdown. He should have caught that other pass that would have put him on the 2, right? Mm-hmm. Fournette shouldn't have been retarded and gave away an interception. Which, by the way, that's another thing. You're like, oh, the Buccaneers defense not so good. Back-to-back possessions.
No. I didn't say they weren't good. That's not what I said.
You had the Ronald Jones fumble.
Ronald Jones fumbled at the.
You had the Ronald Jones fumble
line.
in the red. You had the Ronald Jones fumble in the red zone, and on the next possession is that Fournette screw up, and the Cowboys only came away with 3 points on those 2 turnovers.
Now I said that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is bad. I didn't say that. I said their front 7 is old. When you look at the average age on that front 7,
the Bucks have been the better team tonight, but they've also made way more mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. But I never said the Buccaneers are a bad defense. I said they're an aging defense, and that's why I think, as much as everybody thinks that they're a shoe-in because of they're good overall in every position.
I don't care. If it hits you in the hands,
should have intercepted that.
He should have intercepted that. But
that was an interception ball. And that's going to cost them the game.
It's 3rd and 2.
It's going to cost them the game because Brady's going to get this 3rd and 2. He absolutely.
Oh, you mean the drop? Oh, I thought you meant
the interception could have won them the game. He's going to get that 3rd and 2.
Oh, Giovanni Bernard.
Jesus.
That's both catches on this drive. So
he's keeping that. He's keeping that one time out because they're going to.
I told you Giovanni Bernard was going to be worth the pickup. He was going to be their 3rd down back.
Yeah, with all the other drop passes and fumbles, he's going to play more now. The other
he
2 guys,
will.
yeah.
5-yard penalty. Mm-hmm.
That's costly because I think it's now a 10-second runoff, or they're going to have to use the timeout. If it's
they might just take the timeout.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to because.
No, I'm saying is there a 10-second run out? Is there a 10-second runoff outside of a minute though?
Yes,
it is. Yeah, it's 54 seconds.
That's another stupid rule.
Yeah,
that they have.
that was one rule, especially when it determines an outcome.
The great Roger Goodell.
2017, I think there was a game between the Lions and the Falcons that the Lions got screwed by the 10-second runoff rule, where they would have definitely had time for another play or something like that. Yeah. So the 54 seconds now they're going to have to run
costly.
a lot of outside plays.
I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have used the timeout.
No, I think you guys aren't understanding. They took it as penalty.
No, you have a decision.
Well, they have to take the penalty anyway.
Yes, they either want the 10 seconds off the clock or they want their timeout.
But it would start at 44 seconds and a running clock.
So it is. I understand it. I think they should have kept their timeout.
I think it's a good rule.
Yeah, I just think they have to modify it a little better. I think it's a little too stingy with some certain situations.
I've seen a lot of flags tonight that I wish they wouldn't have thrown. That's my pet peeve right now. How many flags were thrown today? That we really didn't watch that.
Honestly, there's not as many penalties tonight than I thought it was going to be.
I think this has been a pretty good officiating game. I haven't seen one that's been really egregious.
I think this was a pretty good officiated game too. I really do. For what we were expecting, because we were expecting it to be bad.
51-7.
Yeah. We expected it to be bad. Here comes
Rob Gronkowski. Is the only. You know what? To be fair to Tom Brady, I'm only looking at Gronk right now too. Everyone else dropping the ball, fumbling the ball. I'm only looking at Gronk.
This game's over. They're going to win.
I'll tell you the other guy not dropping it too, and you're going to roll your eyes.
Antonio Brown.
Well,
shot and incomplete.
Oh, there was nobody there.
Why did he do that?
Somebody probably blew a route.
Or maybe he was just trying to
throw it away.
Yeah, no. Maybe he was trying to show something that wasn't
draw
there.
A penalty, maybe.
No, No, he was trying to show something to make it seem like that's what he was going for. He's going to throw a short pass. Who knows what he's?
I mean, they don't have enough time to really waste on that, though.
Really,
they have plenty of time, dude.
24 seconds. It's a lot of time.
No, they don't have a lot of plays though to waste the play.
They're on the 45 right now.
They need 10 yards.
That's it.
They need 10 yards.
I think the game's over.
I would venture for more than 10 yards, a 50
If
something
they get
yard
this
kick
first down,
This
the
defense
Cowboys
stinks.
will.
The Cowboys defense.
Well, we know
stinks.
that, but I still would trust a bigger play.
Whoa,
That's
is that
a
a
big one.
penalty?
That's a great.
Was that a
That's
penalty?
Chris Godwin redeeming himself.
Was that a penalty?
I don't
Hell
think
no.
so. It looked like he was just backpedaling.
Because that's interesting.
What a throw!
You want to kiss it? You would like to kiss everything.
I kiss the rings.
You know, you kiss other things too. I think you would kiss a
See,
lot
but
of
that's
things.
the thing, right?
yeah, just
this is what's funny,
corner
right?
slept.
Is he makes a throw like that, which is a great throw. Tyler goes, "Oh, what a great throw!" And Errol immediately has to shit on that. You are Eeyore. You hate fun.
I didn't.
You
say
hate.
I didn't.
Dude, you're so negative.
I
You hate
didn't say.
fun, you
First
hate
of all,
good things. You're just like.
first of
you're
all,
you're
first
such
of
a
all,
butthurt 20-year Jets fan.
Oh, get out of
That's
here.
used to seeing this.
No,
that you can't
no,
even
no.
appreciate greatness.
You're used to opening your mouth because if it has something to do with the Patriots or Tom Brady, you want to get on your knees and show him whatever you want to show him.
I'm not the one that made the comment. I'm not the one that made the comment.
I didn't say anything. What did I say? What did I
you're
say?
like, oh, you got to get on the knee. I'm not the one that was like, oh, great throw. That was Tyler, by the way.
Yeah, because
And then
Tyler's looking at me and saying, what a
and
great...
then you come in, you're like, oh,
exactly.
that's whatever. That's whatever.
I didn't
That's
say
not a
anything.
penalty.
As a Jets fan, you wouldn't even recognize a good play.
Oh, really? Oh, really? I wouldn't recognize a good play. Okay. So you're telling me in the years that I've watched the game, I didn't see any great plays from the Jets.
Not if you've been watching Jets games.
Get out of here. The
The
Jets
butt
went to
fumble.
back-to-back
Not if you've been watching
AFC
Jets
title games with Rex
That
Ryan.
butt fumble burns in his memory.
Yeah, that's fine. No, it doesn't. I didn't give a shit about that. I wasn't a big Mark Sanchez fan. Anybody that knows me. So I never thought that.
Why are they kick the field goal?
With 14 seconds.
The Cowboys kick the field goal, go home happy.
With 14 seconds. It's a
Well,
first. It's
what's
first down,
burning
not
three
fourth
plays
down.
going to do?
They're
Tom
running-
Brady literally
make
just
it
threw
6
back-to-back
seconds.
balls
Chance
out
you
of
can
bounds.
get more. If you can get 5 more yards, 7 more yards, you get those yards, dude.
Right.
That's what you do.
Also that, but also 14 seconds. You're not kicking at 14 seconds. Kick at 5 if those plays don't work.
And you don't want to give the other team an opportunity to take the ball down and make a
Kick
wacky
return, yeah,
throw.
right.
You want to get as
Kick
close
return,
as possible.
fluky
You're
play.
not like,
No, I
oh,
get
well,
you
we're in
wanna get
field goal
closer,
range. 40,
but
47 yards is
Tom
close
Brady
enough.
just threw the ball away twice.
Yeah,
So
because
they're
nothing was open. You don't want to take a sack.
He did. No, you're not taking. That's not a sack.
Trying to run
That's-
out the clock. That's what he's trying to do, man.
That's what I right.
Now, so they have 7 seconds. They're gonna have 6 seconds because after the kick, 6
Brady-
seconds.
look,
Probably
listen,
they'll probably have more.
This is the brilliant part about Brady, by the way, because he's going for the sure throw, and if it's not there, he's throwing it away and not burning more time or whatever. He's
Right,
not
taking
like
a
trying
sack.
to
I
force
don't
something.
think-
exactly.
I don't think they were. I thought they were just burn play. Honestly, I think they just burned 10 seconds.
Exactly, because you
I
don't want
don't
to kick
think
at
they
14
were
seconds.
designed
Right, but it's the time. But it's also like, okay, if that throw's not there, I'm not going to force it somewhere and maybe have a
No, I
turnover.
agree. I agree.
Right,
but
right.
I don't even think the receivers were downfield.
Good. 3 seconds.
All right.
2 seconds.
So somewhere like 2.5. Yeah,
They got 2 seconds to make a play.
So that's another game-winning drive by the great Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Don't say that. Don't say that. It's not that good.
What?
So wait a minute. How many game-winning shots does Jordan have?
Game-winning
Oh,
shots?
a bunch, man.
No. I'm serious. I want a serious comparison here.
Jordan done it, and he did it in
Like
crazy games.
30, 40, 50.
More than that. Michael Jordan.
How many game-winning drives does Tom Brady have?
A lot. Nobody's saying that.
I know.
but
I
think
want
of-
exact numbers.
I don't know. Speedy, you want to look it up? Does it really matter?
I'm
No,
looking up
curious.
most buzzer beaters in NBA history.
I mean, look at
Well, that's
biggest
Kobe.
biggest buzzer hitter. No, Michael Jordan hit more buzzer beaters than Kobe Bryant did. Absolutely, and we lost Jeff.
No, it's just some other call coming in.
Do you guys think the Beeve
No,
is
it's not,
walking?
it was an advertiser thing.
Do you
Well,
guys
okay,
think the Beeve has left his house to walk to the George Washington Bridge to jump?
we know somebody else did. Recently, they caught a woman walking on the George Washington.
Yeah.
She lunged to her death.
This article says Michael Jordan has 9.
A great,
No way.
great buzzer beat. They're-
In their
There's no way
classification
it's
of
9.
winning shots in the final seconds of the game. But I'm sure Jordan had plenty of other ones like 20 seconds to go.
That's
30
what I.
seconds to
That's
go.
what I want.
No, but what they're saying, like the buzzer beaters, like
because Tom
You know-
Brady definitely has more than 9 game-winning
You
drives.
know, you know
Right.
what happened
And
with
Michael
that
Jordan
woman?
has more like 30 seconds, 20
but that's
seconds
different.
left.
A buzzer
Right. Yeah,
beater
yeah,
for
exactly.
basketball is different.
Well, I didn't want. I said game-winning
Well,
shot. I
that
didn't
was
say
this,
buzzer
that was this
beater.
article.
Wow.
Came up.
And by the way,
You know-
Dak Prescott had a great game.
You know what happened with that woman, by the way, right? You know why all that whole thing happened?
Why?
She found out she matched with the Beeve on Tinder. It was too much for her. It was too much.
Snug says it's the little rain cloud that follows Earl around. It's back. Butt fumble replaced the guarantee as the most memorable Jets moment ever. Carl says 35-yarder. It's upright. Snug says that it's good. I think I heard the beef squeal.
Why would you take a timeout during a kickoff?
As yet again, the Cowboys suck. Maybe send the cops over to do a health and
Mike
wellness
McCarthy's
check
going to get fired after this game.
on the mayor of macaroni salad.
After the season.
Why wouldn't you take a timeout there? You have two. It's not like you're gonna good. You could use the extra time to draw a play or try to be clever or try to think of something, right?
You couldn't do
you
that
have two. You can't
the
take
whole
them with
time
you.
that the Buccaneers were going down the field.
Dude, you can't take those timeouts with you.
I get
You
it,
could
but
probably
it
use
just
more
doesn't
time.
make sense to take one there at all.
Yeah, well, it does make sense because he is talking it over with
You're
Dak
going to do
Prescott.
a Hail Mary and then a bunch of
Hail
trickery
Mary
afterwards.
full of grace.
Can you take that timeout with you?
No, I get why
Then
you
why
took-
not use it?
Oh, wow, they didn't throw the ball at all. Well,
That was stupid.
It was. They're trying to do some kind
That-
of
Lateral, backwards lateral. That's the only way it would work. It wasn't going to work. So stupid.
Doesn't mean they should
never
try,
mind.
though.
My plan would have been better. At least we would have gotten the ball. Yeah.
I would have taken Dak Prescott and tell him to chuck it down the field and see if he caught it. That's what I would do.
Although I will say this, did you see the crew they sent out there, by the way?
Yes.
It was like Micah Parsons and like a bunch of defensive guys too, like pretty creative.
Yeah, I'm as everybody knows, I'm not a big Mike McCarthy fan. I don't really find him to be a very good coach. If you look at it, what quarterbacks he's coached over the years, fantastic quarterbacks, and he won one Super Bowl. So it's to me, I'm not a big fan of his. And by the way, this team, this Cowboy team, with the offensive pieces they have, they should be a lot better offensively in this game. And Dak Prescott really kept this team together.
Dude, they listen, the last time we saw this Tampa Bay team, they were putting Patrick Mahomes in a locker, right? So if you're going to compare the last two Bucs games, Dak outperformed Mahomes. So
Oh, absolutely.
You
Oh, yeah,
they should be
without
better.
question.
You should be better than they are. Dude, he did really well tonight.
Oh, guy, everybody knows what I think about Dak Prescott. You don't like him. I like Dak. And I think
he impressed me tonight. This is the first time I've really been impressed with him. Before, he would throw for 400 yards against teams like the Giants. Sorry, Speedy, but teams like the Giants.
I know.
Speedy picked Dak Prescott in his draft this year
Uh-huh.
as his number
My-
one guy.
my
And
8th round pick.
Did you start him tonight?
Yeah, of course.
So you're put in position really well.
Let's see.
I mean, dude, no one should draft any Cowboys. That's the downfall of every fantasy team.
All right, so I had 58.45 points, and I was playing against Brady and Godwin, so I'm losing right now, but 58.45 for him. So still was very
That's
impressive.
great.
Had better fantasy than than Tom Brady, and then my opponent also has Godwin too, 23.5.
By the way, Speedy,
3.5. It should have been 30.
Well, I've
By the
got
way,
win another
Speedy-
league, so I'm actually kind of annoyed, but now I realize I'm playing it, so I'm not as mad. Go ahead, Jeff.
just so you know, Speedy, there's still room on the Georgia bandwagon if you want to jump on.
Jeff, I'm in favor of the Georgia bandwagon. I would love to see that win.
I think he was.
Yeah, I have him as a playoff team.
I picked Georgia.
They were my
make it too.
number three. They were my number three.
I had Georgia making it too. But who did I have winning? Was it?
No, I think you had Georgia.
There
I'm pretty
was
sure you
Georgia?
had
I
Georgia.
did pick
I'm pretty
Georgia,
sure you had Georgia.
I did pick Georgia, but I always like Georgia. I think they're very good defensive, always very good defensive recruiting class. Obviously, an Alabama disciple coaching the team, so who's a very good defensive mind. So they're built defensively like Alabama. They build through the defense and they go through the offense. And they have better quarterbacks that come out. Georgia's had better Matthew Stafford. There has been good quarterbacks that come out of Georgia's program, but not with that coach. Not with that coach. I mean, who's he had that he's since he's been there? Who's he recruited? Nobody.
Who?
The coach for Georgia.
Kirby
Smart. He hasn't drafted any.
I don't know.
quarterbacks.
Who's he recruited?
No, I said quarterbacks. Quarterbacks.
Yeah, one of the most obvious ones because
Justin Fields.
3 years ago, he got the number one player.
Okay, but again, he recruited him. But is he? Did he?
Hold on.
Get
You
drafted?
keep moving. This is what you do. You move the goalposts. You go, well, who's he recruited? And then you go, yeah, sure, he recruited him, but did he stay there? Or
He didn't
No,
stay there. He
recruited
didn't
him.
even play him. He didn't
Yes,
start
did.
him.
Yes,
No, he didn't.
Yeah, no, he didn't start him, but he played.
Yeah, he barely.
played,
Okay,
and
you recruited a guy that you barely played.
You couldn't go away from Jake Fromm. You can't
He was the
argue
hot
what Jake
hand
Fromm
that
did at Georgia.
season, right?
You couldn't go away from him. That's just what it was, dude. There are situations like that, right? Why did Mac Jones not? Mac Jones only played for 1 year. 1 year.
And I think he only started because
Tom Brady's top 2 in.
He only started 2 because remember Saban at the beginning of last season was
Burrow
saying
was the
even though
same
Bryce
player.
Young was the number one,
Burrow was saying
their number one
when
recruit.
Ohio State, when he went to LSU and they played him.
I love you, Errol, but you don't understand what happens in college football. You just don't understand. Like you don't.
I'm not a big listen. I know college football, but I'm not. I'll admit that when it comes to college football, like you, Speedy, I'm not. I don't know more about college football like you guys.
Jake
do.
Fromm,
I'll admit
Jake Fromm only got that job by default because the guy that was supposed to start got hurt. Do you remember who the guy was?
Jacob Eason.
Jacob Eason.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He's in the league too.
Yeah.
Right. He had a lot of arm talent, never really developed because of that. Then he went to Washington for that 1 year too and was pretty good there.
Is he on Indianapolis?
If there's a QB university, it's basically Georgia. Like, are they excelling in the pros?
I think Oklahoma.
No, but they.
I think
But
Oklahoma
like,
is.
do you know who the all-time passing leader in SEC history is?
Who? From?
A Georgia quarterback.
Who is it?
Aaron Murray.
I liked Aaron Murray. I remember him.
I don't remember.
2010 to 2012 or something
Cole
like that.
Brennan?
Right.
No, he's SEC history, he said.
Who's the other star NFL quarterback Georgia has put in the league? Matthew Stafford.
No, I said Matthew Stafford.
Like they're like QBU dudes. So like when you're like, that's who Kirby Smart got. So when you,
well, he didn't draft.
You moved the goalpost though because
he didn't recruit Matthew Stafford.
He recruited Justin Fields.
Okay, he recruits Justin Fields, but did he go into the NFL as a Georgia Bulldog or did he go in as an Ohio State Buckeye?
First of all, we're going to start saying that about a lot of it. Is Jalen Hurts an Alabama quarterback?
Jalen Hurts is an Alabama quarterback. Yes.
He is not then. He's an Oklahoma quarterback by your standards.
That's right. And that's why I said I've mentioned Oklahoma is to me the quarterback place when it comes to NFL quarterbacks.
Well, we'll have to see how that changes if Oklahoma is going to play SEC defenses now.
It has been lately.
In the future.
It had they've probably had more successful quarterbacks than anyone. Like
yes,
Baker Mayfield, like him or not, he's successful. Kyler Murray, like him or not, he's pretty successful so far. Like so far they have been. I know people hate him, but Sam Bradford was pretty damn successful.
Sam Bradford was. Yeah. That's why I said that's a quarterback to me.
But they've also put eggs in the league too.
Absolutely.
Do you remember Josh Heupel?
Yes.
Okay. Josh Heupel, isn't that the same guy that coached Tennessee and then got fired, or is he still there now? Is that
Josh
that same
Heupel
guy?
No. Josh Heupel is coaching Tennessee now.
He is okay. That's right.
He was at UCF last year. Right, or the last.
Oh, that's right. Jeremy Pruitt got fired from Tennessee, and Heupel took over. That's right.
Yes.
And when it comes to college football, I don't know college football, and that's why I say.
But
if I'm going to college,
I'm saying you're going. Well, who did he recruit? But then you move the goalposts afterwards. When it's so easy to go. Well, he recruited Justin Fields, the #1 overall prospect in all of college football, and then you'll move the goalposts. So you
but that's the way I look at it. When you go into the NFL draft, who are you playing for? And that's the way I look at it. I will fine if he drafted if he recruited Justin Fields, you could put him there. If that's the way you look at it, I look at it differently. Where did he go into the NFL? He went in as a Buckeye.
I look at Justin Fields very honestly because you can do this like at a lot of places. Justin Fields was the product of too much success because you recruit Jacob Eason and he goes there, and you recruit Jake Fromm and he goes there, and then you get Justin Fields. There's only one quarterback that's on the field, only one.
Yeah,
so when you're that highly ranked,
if you were,
and all of them were highly coveted coming out of high school, right? So he's a victim of too much success. That's what that is.
Carl or Snug says maybe send the cops over to do a health and wellness check on the mayor of macaroni salad.
The Sultan of coleslaw.
All right, Ben has our answer for the game-winning shot. That is 25 for Michael Jordan. Snug says, I figured that the beat was on Grindr. Carl says, who's better, Errol McCarthy or Saban?
McCarthy was Saban. Absolutely.
48 Brady game-winning drives. I see 25, or some articles, 30 for Michael Jordan.
We'll give him 30.
Speedy is in favor of Broncos bandwagon. Speedy's ponies. Carl says Josh Fields. Justin Fields. We got that already. Roxanne Charlie Ashley Bella says, what y'all think of the games tonight? Well, there was one game and it was, I guess, weird and kind of sloppy for the most part. Week 1. And then Carl says Tyler sneaking in another Brady top 2 stat. Well done, Tyler.
And because there's a ton of quarterbacks that transfer out from all over though.
And there's going to be more of it with the rules now.
Right. Like, hey, Jack Cohn, your boy, your Long Island boy. Where was he going to school? Wisconsin. Where is he now?
Notre Dame. Yep.
Right. Like it's happening everywhere. The kid that played for Boise State, Brett
Ripien.
Burmeister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Brett Burmeister. He was other. There's been a ton of dudes that they transfer out.
Boise State had 3 years ago had that 3 quarterback system too. And then I think some of them moved on. Ripien was one of them. I forget who the other two. And now they got was it Bachmeier starting now? Hank Bachmeier. I think
no. It's not Bachmeier. It's Burmeister.
Oh, Burmeister.
Bachmeier got passed, I think.
Okay.
What did you guys?
They move around so much with those.
What did you guys?
That's how wild the transfer portal is.
Right, but there's always going to be highly touted recruits, and they have to transfer out. Look at not for nothing. Look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Why did he go to Oklahoma? He lost his job to Tua, who was a top recruit.
Carl says in the comments, Jack Charbonnet, UCLA running back, went to Michigan. Charbonnet's played amazing to start the season too.
Dude, Charbonnet quit that team because they were and Harbaugh's a running dude and wouldn't give him any touches. And look how stupid Harbaugh looks now. Zach Charbonnet is lighting the world on fire.
Yeah.
In his sissy blue uniform. How bad do you think Coach O wants those words back?
Sissy blue uniform.
Oh, Coach O, Errol's favorite coach.
Who's my coach?
Coach Ed Orgeron.
Oh, God.
I mean, honestly, I'm in favor of killing Siri and making Ed Orgeron the voice of the Big list.
Please make that a thing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
LSU.
I think Ed O should be the Siri voice.
Jeff, if you ever get that, somebody has to find a way to prank it on Errol's phone.
Oh, man, I can't stand that guy from LSU's voice. He's terrible.
I mean, dude, you like, here's the thing. This is the thing to you, right? You don't like things that are unique. He's a unique guy. People like him.
Yeah.
Apparently, you
stop smoking.
He doesn't. First of all, he doesn't.
Well, where did he get
I'm
that
the
voice?
smoker, not him.
Oh, I beg to differ. He's got a smoker's voice compared to you.
No, dude, that's not a smoker's voice.
What the hell you call that?
Dude, he played football and had a larynx damage. That's how that happened.
Oh, well, it's an unfortunate thing for him.
And now he sounds like he wrestles gators for a second job, which is perfect in Louisiana.
Of course, Jeff looks at the positive side to it. He's wrestling gators. Oh, my God.
Dude, if you hate Coach O, you hate fun. So I give you Errol. You are the king of hating fun.
Hey, listen, you have to look negative. It can't always be positive, okay? And that's life.
What isn't positive about Coach O?
Oh, what isn't positive? I don't know. His voice?
Dude, no, that makes him awesome.
So his voice makes him awesome in your eyes. In my eyes, I couldn't stand listening to that. Come on.
Well, listen, everyone thinks something is annoying, right? Like, I got the Boston accent. Some people hate it. You got the New York accent. Some people hate it. Okay. You don't like the way he talks. That is what it is. But dude, he's awesome. He's just flat out awesome.
Carl says, get Speedy a sissy blue shirt, Jeff. Get Tyler a medium size.
Medium size.
By the way, anyone not looking at UCLA thinking they're good is retarded.
Oh, they're definitely good.
Yeah.
I just said to everybody, in 5 years, you're not going to be talking about Saban and Dabo Swinney. You're going to be talking about Mr. Chip Kelly as the best coach in all of college.
Were they number one of what they were expecting in the Pac-12 preseason poll, Jeff?
No. Washington was ahead of them. They lost to Montana.
Yes.
And USC was ahead of them. USC still has Keaton Smith
yes.
and some other dudes. So, they're going to be pretty good. But UCLA, dude, they're on to something.
Mm-hmm.
That Robinson.
Yeah,
Thompson,
I think it's Duncan or something like Thompson Robinson.
That defense is ridiculous.
I forget. Yeah, I forget his first name.
Let's wait and see when they play someone that has an offense. UCLA, not so much, and certainly not Fresno State. So,
yeah. Ben says, "Let the birthday weekend commence." Happy birthday, Ben! As Errol wishes him happy birthday as well in the comments. Happy birthday, Ben.
Maybe we can get him to go hang out with the Beef for his birthday. That'd be a good gift.
Maybe we can have the Beef give him a little pleasure.
have the Beef do all the catering.
The Beef and pleasure go hand in hand.
The Beef will do all the
Do you think
catering
he
and
just,
for an unlimited party just to make him work more, Jeff.
Do you think he just left his house and just walked into the ocean and Bayshore there?
We should call him. Who wants to call him? Let me
Nobody
call.
wants to call.
Let
him.
me call him.
Let's wrap this up.
We will. I want to see if he answers. I just want to see if he answers because
I mean, honestly, if you're not calling the Beef, you have no business in entertainment.
And I'm gonna check
put
out.
on the thing. Let's see.
I'm gonna check out CD Lamb.
Put on the thing. Put on the
CD Lamb.
Put on the lead. Put on the thing.
It's on. It's on. Let's see if he comes.
Jeff, don't say anything.
Hello.
What's going on, Beef?
What's up?
Did you watch the game?
Of course I watched the game.
What'd you think of the game?
And the ref screwed the Cowboys once again.
Well, what made you think they screwed the Cowboys?
Well, on that last play to put the Bucks into field goal range, the receiver pushed off the defender.
No, they didn't. They're hand fighting and
Speedy. I don't want to hear you.
They were hand fighting.
Speedy, shut up. I'm not talking to you. You're fucking wrong.
Well, I'll tell you this: Dak Prescott had some game, man.
Yeah, but I mean, again, the Cowboys are missing Zach Martin. Gallup went out. So there's two big injuries right there that Cowboys didn't have. And McCarthy's an asshole. He should have went for it on 4th and 6.
And you're the one. You're the one that loved the McCarthy move. I remember.
He should have went for it. He should have went for it on 4th and 6.
I told you about Mike McCarthy. You didn't want to listen to me.
I wouldn't have kicked that field goal.
Don't worry, Beef. CD Lamb got you 23.4 fantasy points.
That's great for you.
Okay,
Name a bigger Beef move than blaming the refs. Have you ever seen the Cowboys move that seen him not blame the refs? That would be new, wouldn't it?
That's my opinion.
No, shut up, Tyler.
That's my opinion.
I love it, Beef. I love it. Shut up, Tyler.
That's my
Speedy,
opinion.
Shut up.
Well, so good. That was definitely offensive pass interference.
Give me a break.
Pushed off and go watch it again.
And the defender was holding Godwin's arm too. They were hand fighting. There was nothing wrong with that.
Go watch it again.
Yeah, I did.
You
I
guys
watched
are
the
lucky
replay
it even
twice.
came down to the final drive.
The corner was also holding Godwin's arm too.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did. They
You
were
know what's
hand
even better?
fighting.
You know what's even
They were
better?
hand fighting.
Would it have been a push off if
No,
it
they
was
did not.
Amari Cooper doing it to a Bucs player, or would it have just been a great football play?
Idiot.
They were hand
It
fighting.
would have been a great football play, and that's my opinion.
Nope, and then that wasn't holding either on offensive holding. The Cowboys were driving the ball. So there's two plays that they ruined the game.
All right, Leonard Fournette literally
the
gave
one on
you
Williams
7 points.
was what are you talking about? The outside one or the one on Williams? Because the outside one I could give you. The one on Williams was definitely a hold on Vea, I think it was.
No, not the one on Williams. The other one.
Okay, yeah, that one I'll give you. That was a little questionable.
I killed them.
But I disagree on the Godwin one. That was just hand fighting.
You're wrong because you can go still the analysis.
You're right because you agreed with him, but you're wrong now because you disagreed.
Speedy's just a plain idiot. That's all.
They call too much of those. It's good that they didn't call it in that situation. How many times have they called that on pass interference when it's just hand fighting? It's just hand fighting.
It's just hand fighting.
Oh man,
I love it. I love it.
Well, look who's talking. Someone was in there.
Can you imagine how dirty that kid's floor is right now? Can you imagine? Like he was feverishly jerking off when the Cowboys were ahead, and then now there's tears on top of his little
Cowboys should have won that game.
Get out of here, dude.
They outplayed them.
The Cowboys outplayed him.
The Cowboys did outplay him.
Dak Prescott outplayed Tom Brady. He definitely did.
Yep.
He definitely did. He did. What are you on for? He did. The numbers show that he absolutely did. It wasn't Dak Prescott's fault why they lost.
It wasn't Tom Brady's fault that his team
I didn't
let him down for 3 quarters.
Well, let him down, but Tom Brady didn't have a better game than Dak Prescott. He threw 380 yards. But both teams, to me, when you look at the yards thrown, both defenses did not play well. Okay,
no,
I disagree.
Yeah, but that's par for the course for the Cowboys defense.
Tampa Bay's defense played pretty well.
Both defenses were horrible in that game. I mean, the secondary of the Tampa Bay didn't even show up in that game. I don't know what hell.
Nope.
I mean, if we're being honest about if you're being honest, I'm not putting down Dak Prescott, right? But Brady outplayed him. He really did. Like those interceptions that were thrown, those turnovers, those are all on the receivers, and Brady threw those in perfect spots. It's not Brady's fault.
But if you remember Dak Prescott, Jeff, Dak Prescott before he got hurt in the third or fourth game last year, he was breaking. Fifth game. He was breaking records. People were looking at his numbers. He was the only
400-yard games.
400-yard games. One of the games.
Right now, pull up the schedule.
This is a 400-yard game right now.
Pull up those schedule
He just
and look
played
at the opponents.
All right, he just played Tampa Bay, and they're a good opponent. They had 400 yards in this game.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. How good of a get? Like, and listen, Dak impressed me, right? He did. Like, I'm not trying to shit on him, even though that's what you're going to take away from him.
I'm not.
But when you get the ball on back-to-back possessions inside the Tampa 25 because they're turning the ball over, and you only come away with 3 points, you're failing.
Falcons, Seahawks, and Browns. So yeah, the Browns are probably the only good defense of that.
And they lost that game.
Yeah, 49-38. That's on Dak.
Well, the only reason I remember that is because Odell Beckham Jr. showed out.
He did.
And B, if you want to blame somebody, honestly, I blame Zerline for missing those kicks.
Right.
If anything,
I can't hear him. But can you ask him a question for me?
Go ahead.
What did he think of Zeke Elliott's performance tonight? Very impressive, wasn't it?
Jeff wants to know, what did you think about Zeke Elliott's performance tonight?
Well, what is he supposed to do when Tampa Bay has one of the best run defenses in the NFL? He can't run the ball.
What do you
Shouldn't an elite running back still give you something?
You can't run against that team.
But you should try.
You can't run against that team. There were plenty of teams last year that ran against them.
No, they were like
plenty of teams.
You need to understand that Zeke's overrated, and you Cowboys fans now have to lie in the bed you've made.
Do you think it's telling that Tony Pollard got more touches than Zeke Elliott?
That's a huge piece.
No, he didn't. Tony Pollard only got 3 carries, 14 yards.
Yeah, how many? He caught like 6 or 7 swing passes.
He caught 4 passes, 29 yards, and
he had one
3
good
for
run
14.
13
3 for
yards,
14. I don't know how many times he was targeted.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you when Mike McCarthy came to that team? I told you this, and you thought I was nuts. And I said Mike McCarthy ends running backs' careers. They never even start. Okay, and I told you he is not going to run the ball. He doesn't coach good running games. He's West Coast offense.
They were running
Zeke Elliott, who they paid the year that they brought him in, they gave Zeke Elliott $60 million, the highest running back contract
at the time.
At the time of all time. Meanwhile, they bring in a coach that doesn't like to run the ball. It made no sense. That's a Jerry Jones stupidity move. Okay, that was dumb.
I mean, they look pretty good. They lost the game, but they look pretty good. You're shitting all over this just because they lost. But
I'm not shitting
the big takeaway: CeeDee Lamb looked good. Other than that one ball he should have caught that turned into an interception. Dalton Schultz looks like a good starting tight end in the league. He showed up tonight. Dak, very impressive coming back from an injury, having a whole year off.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of good takeaways from this. There really is.
Well, I never said that there weren't. You know what I think about CeeDee Lamb. So
we know what the beef thinks about CeeDee Lamb.
I think CeeDee Lamb.
What's the beef thing about CeeDee Lamb?
Well, when CeeDee Lamb was drafted,
and did it all without Zach Martin, though.
Yeah, well, and that's why the beef thinks the reason why they lost was no Zach Martin. That's what he thinks.
He may very well be right on this one.
Wow, Jeff agrees with you on something. Beef, look at that.
Ben says, thanks for taking McCarthy off our hands. Every Packer fan. Snug and Ben both say hashtag ban the beef. Carl says, get his thoughts on Zerline. We just did. Snug says,
I just don't like Mike McCarthy.
It's my opinion. Snug says, it's my opinion that the Princess of Piccolo is full of bullshit, even though that was even hands fighting. Now his floor is covered with tears, Vaseline, Kern.
Is that Jeff?
No, this is Snug.
Snug saying something
Kern
crazy.
and shame.
I don't think this loss falls on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy could have been a winning coach tonight. What if Zerline had hit that extra point? What if Zerline hadn't missed that field goal?
I just said that he missed 3 field goals in the game.
Well, he missed an extra point.
So you're shitting on Mike McCarthy, but he pretty much did a better job, I guess, right?
I hate Mike McCarthy. I don't like him as a coach.
Here's what's even crazier. Did you think that was going to be the game plan when they came out? Did you think they were going to throw it 700 times to start the game?
No, actually, I did.
At the
I
beginning of the
actually
game,
did.
it made
I think I did.
sense, yeah.
I with the weapons that they have, and we know Mike McCarthy doesn't like to run the ball. Yeah, I thought he was gonna. I thought they were gonna throw the ball like crazy to him.
And like we've been saying, to combat the Buccaneers' run defense, which has been number one in the league.
But when people were saying that the Buccaneers were going to score 50 on the Cowboys and it wasn't going to be close, I thought everybody was out of their minds.
But you got to understand, that's a good point, Speedy, right? I don't even think Barry Sanders could have run against this Bucs defense, right? Like, impossible.
Speaking of Barry Sanders, Slug says Zeke killed it way better than Barry Sanders. Carl says Beeve loves Zerline.
You know what's so funny? When everybody wants to compare somebody, they compare him to Barry Sanders.
Running back ever.
In our eyes, but really he wasn't.
Carl says a running back
Really
better
wasn't.
than Barry Sanders finds a way, Beeve.
Him or the only other answer.
Talent-wise, yes, but
the only
really
other answer
wasn't.
I even listened to was Jim Brown.
Really?
Those are the only two answers I take.
Ben says Tom Brady.
There was a running back that played for the Bears that was pretty damn good.
Walter Payton,
Walter
yeah.
Payton. He's my number 2 to Barry Sanders all time. Ben says
I forgot about Walter Payton.
Ben
So
says
those are the three.
Tom Brady in 2 quarters of a football has already accounted for 40% of Aaron Rodgers' interception total from last season.
I mean, those are only the running backs they compare people to now, right? Barry Sanders, Gale Sayers, right?
Yeah.
The new one,
Eric Dickerson.
Michael
We forget about him.
Michael P. Ryan.
Michael P. Ryan. Could you stop? Another
No,
Jet.
I mean, he's a Jet. He must be the greatest player that's ever lived.
Oh,
right? Well,
Jeff, if you want to make that jab, I think CJ's the one to target for that. He's a Jets and Florida fan.
I'm a Florida
disgusting.
State fan.
Heathen. Absolute mouth breather, if that's the combination that you like. Absolute mouth breather.
He was on our was he on our either was on our draft show or he commented during our time we were covering the draft. He was saying Trask was a first round pick. So
Of course. Yeah, listen, like no joke, not even kidding. I mean, I'm amongst the mouth breathers here. You're either like a Florida State fan or a Gators fan, right? Like that whole thing, right?
Fan, yeah.
Dude, I shit you not. Florida fans rival Cowboy fans on how good they think their players are. It's outrageous.
Well, I tell you, I've been a Florida State fan since I was a kid, and I think they've stunk. And when Winston won the national championship, everybody was like, "Oh, Winston's going to be great." I thought he was going to stink in the NFL. I was right.
Captain Crablegs.
I was right about it. I did not like him. I think he was better off playing baseball than playing professional football.
Florida State's had like 2 good players in the history of their freaking franchise, in the history of the school, like 2.
speaking of Florida State, can we just make note?
One of them's really freaking good.
Can we just make note that Notre Dame is already being Notre Dame and barely beating teams they should blow out?
Dude, I'm going to tell you this right now because I've seen their schedule. Have you seen Notre Dame's schedule? I've seen their schedule, and I'm going to tell you right now, if they go undefeated or 1 loss and get in, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Like, I am not here anymore for the Notre Dames or Oklahomas of the world to beat the Citadels or the Lady Onassis School for the Blind, right? Like all these terrible schools, right? And watch them get blown out by 60 to Alabama.
Yeah, they only have really, from what it looks like, 2 tough, maybe 3 tough games, depending on how
Clemson and who?
Well, no, Clemson's not on their schedule this year. It's but they might meet if that's the ACC championship. It's Wisconsin, Cincinnati, and USC are really the only like semi.
Beef, could you set up a pickup league where we all throw $50 and a winner gets all $50 and we'll do a pickup?
I'll give you another one, Speedy. And you have the Notre Dame schedule right in front of you.
I do. Yeah, I have it right in front of me.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, circle it. I'll walk right out on this limb. I give 0 shits, bro. Do they play Boston College?
They do not. No.
Usually they play them every year.
No, it's Toledo this week, then Purdue, at Wisconsin, home against Cincinnati.
They're going to lose to
They're at Virginia Tech, home against USC, home against North Carolina, home against Navy, at Virginia, home against Georgia Tech, and then at Stanford. It looks like a neutral site to be determined.
They're not losing to Wisconsin.
Georgia Tech.
They're not losing to Wisconsin or Georgia Tech. Dude, Georgia Tech just got beat by dude. Oh my God.
Notre Dame.
No.
They just lost to Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois, yeah.
Who's an FCS school.
Yeah.
I remember
the old Salukis.
Listen, I remember the last time Georgia Tech, well, not the last time, but there was a Notre Dame team that was supposed to win a national title, and they got blown out by Georgia Tech. So
you're talking about when Georgia Tech actually recruited football players, and now it's a bunch of like engineering students that pretend they play football. Georgia Tech stinks. Georgia Tech stinks. Dude, you can't lose to Northern Illinois and call yourself a football school. You can't do it.
I look at Georgia Tech as a basketball school.
Hey, Jeff, 2 years ago, they lost to Citadel. Funny you brought that up.
Dude, this is exactly my point, dude. They were running the wing offense, bro. That year. That's what they did. They had 4 guys in the backfield and every play was a run play. That's why that coach quit. He sucked. They're not losing to Wisconsin and they're not losing to Georgia Tech, but they will lose to Cincinnati. They will lose to USC.
Yeah,
they'll lose to those schools.
USC's
dude. They almost lost to a quarterback with one leg.
Right.
That's something to brag about. We lost to a quarterback that has one leg. Wonderful.
By the way, Jeff.
But they perpetually play nobody every year, and people go, "Well, it's Notre Dame, so let's put them in the championship."
Right.
I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I can't stand Notre Dame.
Jeff, by the way,
I hated the movie Rudy too.
Speaking of Georgia Tech, they get to play next.
It's not the true story.
It's a great movie.
I never liked that. I'm not a Notre Dame fan.
It's the same movie as Invincible, just about instead of Notre
yeah, but
Dame,
I met Vince Papale. Vince Papale is a nice guy. The guy that they said Rudy, that whole story is bullshit.
I understand, but
Joe Montana said it was bull.
It's the
same. You ever see that movie? The dude looks like the Beeve. Do you think that's a believable football story?
Jeff, by the way, just going back to Georgia Tech, they get to play next week. This will probably be the 51-7 game that Tyler was predicting. They get to play Clemson. So there's probably the 51-7 game.
Dude, it's not even going to be close.
If you bring up one more topic tonight, I'm going to punch you in the back of your chin.
These two guys. They're going back and forth all night.
By the way,
it's very easy to crack on Notre Dame and Georgia Tech.
If anyone's a gambler out there too, you want the upset of the week, pick Tennessee this week.
Really?
Tennessee's going to win. Lock it in.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. And before we go, your big game that you're looking forward to on Sunday, Jeff, besides the Patriots.
Obviously that's going to be a big one, right? Because
I know
we all want to see what Mac Jones is.
But what is the game that really stands out to you? Week 1 Sunday. What do you got?
You're going to hate me for this, but I'm a giant shitbag and I gamble. So let's go Jaguars. Jaguars over Texans. That's my pick this week.
Nice.
I literally picked them up in my knockout.
Beeve, what about you? What is the game that stands out to you?
He's still on the phone?
Yeah, yes. Sunday, what is the game that stands out to you that you want to
watch? Chiefs Browns.
Chiefs Browns, okay.
No, he's still mine.
Yeah, you got Chiefs Browns. How about you, Speedy? What do you got?
I was going to take that, so I'll take something else. Bears Rams. I think that could be a very good one.
The games there? Here, I don't want to agree with the Beef either. So let me see that.
I'll say Bears Rams. I think you got.
Well, that was one of mine too. I want to see the Bears Rams.
You know what I'm gonna say? Because everyone's talking shit right now. I want to see the Seahawks Colts game, and I want to see how Carson Wentz plays.
Is he playing?
Yeah.
Did they announce that he's playing?
He's playing.
Really? Well, Jeff, then you were right about Carson Wentz playing week 1. I didn't think he was.
What's Beeve even doing up this late? Is he brining pastrami's?
The Beeve's getting ready for bed, right, Beeve?
Yep.
All right, Beeve. I'll let you go, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow, bud.
You got it.
All right.
Later.
Bye. So we got the Beeve. The Beeve, he gave us his take. He blames
the refs.
He blames the refs.
Yep.
Every week, the Cowboys get the worst officiating crew in the history of the league.
Dude, listen, I'm not trying to pick on the kid, okay? I'm not. Have you ever seen the Cowboys lose and him not blame the refs?
Never.
Mm-hmm.
We're going on 3 years?
Do you think that they could have lost because they got 2 turnovers inside the 25 and only came away with 3 points? Was that the ref's fault? Was the ref throwing sand in Greg Zuerlein's eyes when he was trying to kick?
That's why they lost. All he had to do was kick off a couple of field goals. They would have won. Game would have been over. He's wrong. He's wrong about that. That you want to blame somebody, you blame Zerline. That's what you blame.
Carl says Walter Payton. He also says Altoon, top 5 wide receiver. Ha ha ha.
No
ha.
question.
See you guys. It is a true story.
Altoon, a top 5? No, I don't think so.
Ben says hate Notre Dame for personal reasons, and Packers versus Saints, of course, Ben brings up because he's a Packers fan.
No one has a personal reason to hate Notre Dame. It's just obvious we all do.
I can't stand Notre Dame. And again, I've watched the movie Rudy plenty of times. I can't stand that story.
It's a great movie.
And it came out when it came out that Joe Montana said it was a fake story. It's not true. Half that story is complete bogus. It makes me.
That means the other half is true.
So what?
Carl says, "See, by
it can't be all. Wait, but it can't be half true and all of it be a lie. You said it's all bogus.
It practically is.
But you said half is bogus.
That they said that Rudy was the first and the only.
But this is him moving the goalpost.
Up here he goes, attacking me.
Carl says,
true.
by the way,
I'm not attacking you. I'm pointing out this is what
I'm
you
saying
did. You
that
moved
Joe
the
Montana said the story is bogus. That's what he said. He said the story is not true. Maybe some of the story coming and with his family and stuff like that, and his friend dying and stuff like that. Maybe that's true, but that whole Notre Dame thing, it's bull. It's bogus.
Maybe you're the reason the Cowboys lost because you kept moving the goalposts on Greg Zerline.
I should. Maybe I should smack
maybe
you around with it.
Maybe if he moved the goalpost, he would have made the kicks.
No, I'm sorry. It was the
that
refs.
first one was.
It was all the
one
refs.
was about a mile wide.
By the way, Carl says he was joking about Altoon, and he also says,
I know he was.
I hate 3-and-out Jesus, not touchdown Jesus.
Dude, that first kick, no shit, that first kick was closer to hitting the back pylon than it was the uprights.
That was terrible. That was. I don't even know why he kicked it. I mean,
that was his job.
Well, obviously. Well,
so that's why he kicked
it. It's some job he has because he couldn't kick it. So you're paying him what? A couple $1 million?
Kick it and kick it good.
Yeah, well, he kicked it, but he didn't kick it good.
He kicked it good.
You could have put 3 goalposts over there.
I agree with you, but he kicked it good.
Here's the other thing. Do you think if the refs went out there and threw 300 flags on whoever the Cowboys were playing, Beav would call up and be like, that's bullshit. We only won because of the refs.
I could only imagine every time Zerline missed a kick what Beav was doing. He was throwing his cup. Dude,
There's
you ever
4
see
hurricanes right now?
if you seen the Beav get angry when he was watching a Cowboy game, he'll stand in front of the TV. He goes nuts. He throws things. It is hilarious.
So he has to replace his
Is
TV
he on the
every year.
spectrum?
No, he's not on the spectrum.
No, because
So
I'm
you're-
sure
so
that's
you're
what people do
telling
when
me-
they have a hissy fit.
He has
So you're telling me I was absolutely right that he acts like a petulant child.
He gets angry. I'll tell you that. He gets really angry. I've never seen anybody get angry as much as he does when it comes to
No, we'll stick to petulant child. I'm with Jeff on this one.
I don't think he's a petulant.
What's Jeff's Colton of coleslaw? What do you call him?
The Sultan of Coleslaw.
The Sultan of Coleslaw is the best one. That is the best one. I told the Beav that, and he laughed at it. He thought it was really, really funny.
He needs to like come up with like a clever like slogan like the Duncan idiot had time to make the donuts. We gotta come up with something for the bees,
Sully wants the slaw.
He should get that on an apron.
Sully wants the slaw.
You should get that on an apron,
What, Sully wants the
No,
slaw?
Sultan of coleslaw. As he walks up and down the thing, that's his job.
Yeah.
Do you know how upset the other deli baristas would be if he came in with his own monogrammed smock?
I should make him one.
You should.
I should make him one. That
And
would
then
be
put
really
the logo
funny.
on the back.
Sully wants the slaw.
What is that from?
That's what I just said. Because Sultan.
Oh,
Slaw.
Sully. Oh, Slaw
Sully.
wants the salt.
Yeah.
Good for you. Let's wrap this up. Goodbye, Jeff.
Jeff, thanks, man.
All right, boys.
Jeff.
Oh, he normally has something witty to say.
From
That was it?
Tampa.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
So, yep.
He's
Well,
gone.
yeah.
There he is.
He normally has something witty to say. That's terrible.
Well, life can only have its bitter chocolate.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Do you like bitter chocolate, Speedy?
No, I'm not really.
You're a liar.
Mixed with things, but not.
I knew you were gonna like that.
Mixed with what?
Other sweet things.
Well, Carl says sissy blue clothes.
Sissy blue colored aprons.
And Hurricane Larry You are safe, Tyler. Oh, man. Bitter chocolate with some nuts.
Really, Carl?
Well, that's why Errol asked you that.
Oh, man.
And then you said something sweet.
He likes it sweet. That's for sure. Hot and sweet, baby. Hot and sweet.
Who else likes it hot and sweet?
Touches his tongue, and it just melts in his mouth.
Oh.
Yes. Nice and sizzling.
And you know, he's only got boxes on over there.
You're damn right.
It's really hot in here.
Oh, it gets hot in here because
I'm going to fix his camera. He lost his camera.
Oh,
you did.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I don't need to. The show's over. So, anyways, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody had a wonderful time.
The beef certainly did.
The beef didn't have such a wonderful time, but I want to tell everybody that we will be back next week on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Listen to the Weekend Crunch, ladies and gentlemen.
Brad Pitt does commercials now?
On Saturday at 7 p.m. If you live here on the island, you can pop it on 103.9. We will be live at 7 p.m. Or if you're not, you can go to you go to iHeartRadio and go look for LI News Radio, and you pop it on at 7 p.m. and you can hear the Weekend Crunch here on Long Island. It's a great show, funny, entertaining, just like this show. So definitely check it out if you haven't. That's it for our show. Tyler, do you have anything to say before we go? Before you go and lick the nuts?
The Billy Goat did it again, and we'll have a long NFL season ahead of us.
All right. Wait, by the way, Carl, what Broncos bet do you want to make? That they make the playoffs or not? What do you want to do? Because
you got to wear underwear on your head, women's underwear on your head for
That's
the
not that
playoffs.
bad, Speedy.
it's
That's
a me
not
and
that
Carl bet. I'll let Carl determine the basis.
No, that's a good idea.
You wear girls' underwear for the
Girl
whole playoffs.
underwear is not that bad on your head.
A thong on your hair.
It's not that bad.
On your head for the whole playoffs if the Broncos don't make the playoffs.
All right. Again, this is Carl's bet.
That's
I'm
the
gonna
bet.
I'm going to let Carl
That's-
be
and
the
if
determining
Carl-
factor.
Well, it's
I'm
our
gonna do it.
show, so
And,
yeah.
and if the Broncos make it, Carl's got to come on our show with his wife's panties on his head,
I agree.
saying that Speedy,
That sounds like a bet.
you are my hero.
All right.
For a segment, not 5 seconds.
Carl, they play my team this week, the Giants, and again,
No,
I hope they
for the
don't win,
season.
but I think
For
they
the
will.
season.
No. All right. Are you betting for the season, Carl? Are you
Season.
betting for? Are you? I mean, he's asking who they play this
It
week.
makes it more exciting.
I agree, but I'm just seeing what he wants.
Why doesn't he just call the show?
No, it's fine because we're getting off.
Well, I know, but this is really late to make a bet anyway.
No, this is a good bet. I like it. He thinks the Broncos are going to make it. So my bet here, I'm going to make the bet for you guys. If the Broncos don't make the
Okay,
playoffs,
season is fine.
all right.
Season is fine.
If the Broncos don't make the playoff, if the Broncos make the playoffs, Broncos. Carl, you have to wear your wife's underwear, and on the underwear you have to write, "Speedy, I love you. You're my hero."
No, he has to say it.
No, you're my hero. And if Speedy, if you lose and the Broncos don't make the playoffs, you got to get a woman's thong and you got to wear it throughout the playoffs on the show.
Oh boy. All right. Carl, are you willing to accept our terms here?
I think it'll be really funny.
It's going to be hysterical.
Yes,
Now,
it
here's
will.
the problem.
What is it?
Are we going to remember this?
He said, I
Carl
will.
says,
I
"I'll write
will."
Speedy's ponies number 1." All right, I guess it's on, Carl.
It's
All right.
on. I think this will be real funny, and let's go.
Wait,
Carl
so he's
says,
a Broncos fan that doesn't think they're making the
not a
playoffs?
Broncos
No, he's a
fan,
Bears fan. He's a Bears fan.
Bears fan. He hates the Broncos, if anything. And Fuller went to the Broncos, so he hates them even more. So he doesn't. I don't think the Broncos are making the playoffs. So this will be fun. I'm definitely looking forward to this, and I will remember this bet. Trust me, I don't forget them. So this will be fun. This will definitely be fun. If Carl loses or Speedy loses, it'll be fun. That's for sure.
I hope you lose, though.
Me or him?
You.
Oh. Didn't you pick them too?
No, I know, but like to see you wear underwear on your head for a whole month will be very
Woman's
exciting.
time. Yes.
It'd be hysterical.
Carl also says took our D coordinator. Yes, they did. Ben says go Pack go, and yeah, Fangio. Yep, took the D coordinator.
All right, that's it, boys. Check us out next week and listen to the Weekend Crunch. All I could say is, Speedy, you're wearing that thong on your head. Tyler, you need some more hair on your head. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit them online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.